Did anybody see the tweet? We'll open there. I wasn't intending to open there, but my goodness, are we going to have to open there? You know, sometimes you lay the trap and the bear walks by it for a little while and doesn't notice your trap, and you sit there and you go, wow, well, I thought I was going to catch a bear. You know, they told me if I built this trap, I'd have a bear. And then some days you set the trap and they fall right in it. Guys, welcome in. We have a big show lined up for you, and I think it might have just gotten a little bigger. The principal took the day off. I don't blame her. She's been globetrotting. It was going to be a tight schedule. She wanted a research and recovery day, and then she dropped a nuclear weapon on top of the world. So I want to show it. I did not think I was going to open with a tweet before I did my opening statement, but you know, time when you're having fun, time sort of flies. So, guys, you know how you'll say you a lot of times you guys say, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? And we say, patience. Sometimes we want to see how they respond before we show our hand. Maybe we want to let them commit a little more money to the pot. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a masterclass. Candace Owens tweeted 51 minutes ago, which would have been around, what time is this? I don't have a time on it, but it would have been a little after 4 o'clock Central Daylight Time. God's time. You guys, I'm assuming she's not talking about your humble host there. I assume she's talking about the Turning Point USA nonprofit organization we'll talk quite a bit about tonight. You guys are some of the dumbest people in the world. Well, we know right there she's not talking about anyone in this crowd. This is a high IQ outfit, ladies and gentlemen. This is a high IQ outfit. You are the dumbest people in the world. Do not consider that I've been sitting on Charlie's Aspen video for the last 7 months. Huh? I am light years ahead of you toothless cogs who deserve nothing but the resentment you have earned from the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, the principal has matches and a kerosene tank. What is the plan, our dear principal? Since you are now shamelessly attempting to use an out-of-context text from 2021 to pretend that Charlie wanted to change the event from the Young Woman's Leadership Conference to BoomerCon NagFest. Shifting demographics, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody else is chasing the younger demographic. TPUSA is chasing the boomers. Here is the relevant portion from his Aspen donor event, captured just 3 weeks before he died, where he carefully laid out his vision for the organization over 2 hours. 2 horas. Please note Charlie's explanation that the past and future vision was for young women to gather at Young Women's Leadership Summit. But I'm sure he changed his mind a week later, right? Oh, this is great. Let's all gather around. We have a little video to watch here, ladies and gentlemen, and it indicates there might be even more video in the tank.
Also this summer, we hosted our Young Women's Leadership Summit. There's big concern. Who's going to do something to win over young women? We've been doing this for 10 years, everybody, for a decade. We've had tens of thousands of young conservative women that have been trained and that are now, they're running for Congress. They are running state representative campaigns. They're CEO of companies. They're moms. They're leaders in their community, in their church. Largest ever Young Women's Leadership Summit. This was back in June. 3,000 young women attended in Dallas, Texas. Here's a little summary.
Oh, nice. Young Women's Leadership Summit, ladies and gentlemen. Not NagFest, Boomerfest. She still won't acknowledge and retract her statement. This pursuit for, I don't even know what this is about here. I think we changed Young Women's Leadership Summit to Women's Leadership Summit from back in 2021. I wonder if they knew Alex would be engaged to an artist who makes Mikey McCoy look like He-Man. I don't know if they knew that at the time when that was being done. But I got a question, ladies and gentlemen. I have a serious question. Call on me. Yes, Mr. Coleman. if Candace is sitting on footage from the Aspen donors event, does that mean what I think it might mean? Does that think that what that was Mrs. Principal? You've had this footage the whole time that you've been begging them to put out footage and let them walk right into a trap? Are you serial right now? Oh, the principal. I want to listen to that one more time, as a matter of fact. I don't want to listen to it. I want to look at it one more time. Let me look at that just one more time, because there was a visual that was very interesting to me. So let me pop this back up. We'll all look together. I'm not going to steal a glance without you guys checking in. Baron Coleman, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Okay. Let me come back up here real quick.
We hosted our...
Where's his microphone?
Young Women's Leadership Summit.
Where's his microphone? How close to his mouth is that microphone? In radio, sometimes we talk about, you always want to be within a hang loose of the mic. That's what this means here, a hang loose of the mic. See how I lose depth as I get away from the mic? And the farther I get from the mic, the more depth I lose. You can still hear me, but you're capturing a lot of room audio here at the same time, right? You know that? See what I'm saying? You can hear me as I get farther away from the mic. So I start here, and I'll just count to 10 as I back up. Tell me when well, you don't have to tell me anything. Just listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do you hear the difference? So let me show you just one more time. One more quick time here.
There's big concern. Who's going to do something to win over young?
See how that microphone is up above his collar while he's talking? The microphone's up above his collar. Let me go back to something real quick. If you guys will indulge me, this all broke after we had prepared an entire show. So I want to look at one quick thing on the video that they have shown us time and time again over the last few days. I got to go back into my run yesterday. If I can find it. Suggested folders. There we go. Go back into yesterday's run. Open up the clip. We'll do a little comparison here, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick little comparison on the Chuck GPT video versus what we saw there. Because you'll notice a difference here where he's holding the microphone. So here is the video that Candace just showed. Notice the microphone up here near his face.
We've been doing this for 10 years, everybody.
See that? It's collar level, clavicle level. Now let's go over to this one and look at this video, because this is the same event and he is holding it in an altogether different position. See how much further below the clavicle that is? Now, that doesn't mean it's fake. You can't look at that and say, oh, but man, we've spotted an obvious fake. Well, I mean, not an obvious fake necessarily. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm hitting buttons and I don't know what I'm doing. It's not an obvious fake necessarily, but it's clearly a difference, because I'll go back and show you the entire time he's talking here. The entire time he's talking, the microphone is much higher. Much higher.
Our Young Women's Leadership Summit. There's
and
big
not
concern. Who's going to do something to win over young women? We've been doing this for 10 years, everybody, for a decade. We've had tens of thousands of young conservative women that have been trained and that are now, they're running for Congress. They are running state representative campaigns. They're CEO of companies. They're mom.
And then we go back to this one and we get an obviously very different look. Nowhere near the clavicle there. much lower. And if you go back and listen to the audio, have we lost any audio quality? That's interesting to me. I'm a bit of an audiophile on these things. I'm a bit of an audiophile on these things. So let me just, again, real quickly, we'll go back and forth real quickly here. So we've got up by the collarbone here, up by the collarbone, and then down in the middle of the chest. That's interesting. Those are very, very different. And the reason I mention this at all, I actually had a long conversation with a fellow podcaster when this came out. We immediately jumped on the phone within like 5 or 10 minutes of them releasing that footage of what was supposed to be the appointment of Erika. And I said, "What is that? An SM58 he's holding?" He's like, "Yeah, it looks like an SM58, and that's just a type of microphone. It might be a wireless version, but it's the same type of microphone. And if you are holding an SM58 all the way out here, you're going to sound like you're talking through a coffee can. It's just not going to pick up very well. It's not going to pick up well at all. But, I've hosted I've emceed events where you have to stay within what I would say was like 4 fingers of the microphone with an SM58. And maybe even right on it. Sometimes they call it eating the mic, where you can actually feel your whiskers on the mic cone. That is not unusual, not an unusual situation to find yourself in with an SM58, is holding that bad boy up nice and close. So, is that definitive evidence that that's an AI video or that's fake or that's not real? No, not necessarily. But I will say it appears his habit on that night where the video was taken from was to hold the microphone much closer to his chin, similar to where the other podcaster and I thought it would be held, much closer to the chin, which is where you see it in this video. And because this is a much more natural position to hold that style of microphone. See how it's up by his face, not down here in the middle of his chest. It was the very first thing that jumped out at me. The very, very, very first thing that jumped out at me was his microphone position. Now, I didn't comment on the microphone position when I went to X. No, because microphone position would not be trolling. No, instead, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned that you couldn't see a mole. And it made Andrew's tweet. It made his tweet. It was amazing. It was amazing. I couldn't believe for the life of me that my mole reference made it into Andrew Kolvet's tweet. And I love it. I love it. It's proving they follow everything we do. But proving more than that, we are masterful levels of trollers, ladies and gentlemen. We troll on a level these people can't even begin to comprehend. They don't understand it because they can't do what we do. They have no sense of humor. No sense of humor whatsoever. Okay, I need to pull this up before I get going. I want to do my opening here because I think it's quite good. I didn't know the night I wanted to do this story. Did he take it down? Where was his ridiculously long tweet from last night that just rambled? Where is that? Oh, here it is. All right, so I got this one pulled up. So when the time comes, ladies and gentlemen, we will be prepared. Okay. I will say this. TPUSA is not the first organization that has lost a founder and lost its way. No. There's a famous example, a very famous example, but there are many. There was a company called Children's Express. Most of you may not have even heard of it. It was a very thriving, a very potent nonprofit. It was founded all the way back in 1975 by a guy named Robert Clampett. No relation to the Beverly Hillbillies, but Roger Clampett was a pioneer in nonprofits. And he founded a nonprofit that gave young people voices in journalism. He was a former Wall Street lawyer, and he decided, you know what? I've made enough money. I can't spend it in 5 lifetimes. Let me go into the nonprofit world and give back to the kids. And so he did. He founded a nonprofit called Children's Express, and it gave children ages 8 to 18 a journalistic platform, and it allowed them to report on issues important to kids. And if you think about issues that are important to kids, they're not unlike issues that are important to adults. They just have a totally different view of them. So it was a really fascinating organization. They trained kids as reporters, editors. They produced syndicated stories, radio pieces. Some of them wrote books. They broadcasted on radio and television and reached some very major outlets. And its mission was very simple. The mission statement was by children for everyone. It emphasized youth perspectives on topics like homelessness, violence, education, and even global conflicts. Again, things that kids would, frankly, be interested in. I mean, why would kids not be interested in global conflicts or homelessness? You know, if you have to step over a homeless guy to go to high school, that's probably a concern of yours. And the rise of Children's Express was meteoric. It was founded in 1975. Just 1 year later, 1976, a 12-year-old Children's Express reporter, 12-year-old reporter, scooped all the veteran journalists in America. They were at the Democrat National Convention, and the 12-year-old reporter got the scoop that Jimmy Carter was choosing Walter Mondale as his running mate. And the story made national headlines, not just because we now knew who the running mate of the Democratic nominee was, but because a 12-year-old got the scoop. And it established the credibility of this organization, Children's Express. But it was Clampett's charisma, his fundraising prowess. And it attracted a tremendous amount of support, foundation support. It enabled bureaus in multiple cities. They had a bureau in New York, Washington, D.C., the Bay Area of California, Indianapolis. They had one in Michigan. And they even later went to London and Tokyo. So the output was very impressive. Young reporters were interviewing people like Nelson Rockefeller, who eventually became the vice president of the United States. They covered wars in Bosnia and Cambodia. They earned awards, Emmys, Peabodys. One of them won a Casey Medal for a piece on homeless teens that was broadcast on NPR. And regular syndication newspapers picked up their stories and ran them nationwide. And by the 1990s, just 15, 20 years after they were founded, they'd produced books. They'd convened major hearings and organizational get-togethers on youth issues. And they had a huge influence on the media coverage of children and children's issues. Clampett his vision had created an oasis of civic engagement. Famed consumer advocate Ralph Nader actually ran for president a couple times. Famed consumer advocate Ralph Nader talked about them in a 1996 tribute and just, glowed about all the great work they'd done. Staff and volunteers just soaked in the aura of the founder, Robert Clampett. He was the chief executive. He was the primary fundraiser. And frankly, he was the organization's heart and soul. If you thought of Children's Express, you thought of Robert Clampett. If you thought of Robert Clampett, you thought of Children's Express. They were inseparable. And then quite suddenly, he died. Robert Clampett died of a heart attack on August 8th, 1996. He was just 69 years old. It was just before the RNC, just before the Republican National Convention. I cannot find a place to put this where it's not unweighted. And the Children's Express reporters were there at the Republican National Convention in the wake of his death. And it was an immediate leadership vacuum. I mean, immediately. Nobody in the organization knew what to do. So the board that included his wife, included his sister, they hired a guy named Eric Graham. Graham was a management consultant. He was a public radio founder. He had all the expertise you would possibly need for a position like this. And it seemed like a manageable transition. They weathered the loss. They maintained the donors' relationships. They maintained the operations. And they continued clicking right along. But during this immediate era after he died, a year or two goes by and the organization just sort of starts to drift. It brought a lot of change. There was a change of direction. There was a change in scope, a change in mission. In 1998, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation gave them a big grant, $4 million. It was the largest in their history, and their annual income by that time had skyrocketed over 600% from the last year that the founder, Clampett, was there. So it was thriving under Clampett, And now it has 6 times as much money. You would expect it to just explode in effectiveness. You would expect it to just amplify youth voices unbelievably, but it didn't, because all of a sudden they became a political organization. 8 to 18-year-olds were now being tasked to write on things like diversity, racial issues, ethnic conflict, social issues. The staff expanded. They went from a handful of employees to up to 26 employees. The salaries began ballooning, including his own pay. Executive pay went up. Operations scaled up. They had a new headquarters. They entered into some expensive leases. They had international ambitions. And this mission drift, this overextension became immediately apparent. No longer was the original board broad vision of just ask questions and get stories published on the subject. Let kids ask questions and see what people say, and then they write about what they say. No longer was that it. It was narrowly aligned to the political preferences of the major donors and the new CEO. Board members later looked back and said that Children's Express became like a diversity mission. Their mission was the diversity mission of Kellogg and Graham, not the original mission of Clampett. And they chased this clout. They chased this global expansion. They partnered with UNICEF. They had bureaus in a dozen different countries by 2010. They opened a Tokyo office. But what they never did was they never went back to the original mission that caused a real diversification of donors. And they became increasingly reliant on these massive mega donors. And so when the mega donations didn't come in, they became financially insolvent. The governance failures, the board's problems compounded the issue. They had a 10-member board, but they met infrequently. They lacked finance committees or fundraising committees, and they had really just generally weak oversight. There was no CFO for a while. There were no monthly reports on income in and expenses out. The trustees just never asked the right questions, and when they finally did, it was too late. They lacked deep pockets, and so there was no money. An anonymous donor actually offered $700,000 conditioned on getting matching funds. The board couldn't find the funds, and so the donation never came in. There was also another guy that offered 50. He said, well, if you can't get 700, can you at least get 50? I'll give you 50 if you can raise 50. They couldn't even raise 50. And so by the time they noticed this, it was too late. Basic operations like water delivery, essential repairs to facilities just lacked. They didn't get them done. And the board only incrementally became aware of the problems. And when they finally threw in the towel, they were $2.4 million in debt. They were under audit for financial mismanagement. And the board finally, in June of 2001, voted to shut down the U.S. and Tokyo operations and go down to just a handful of staff. At one point, they only had a receptionist and an accountant. Hundreds of young reporters lost their platform. The bureaus in New York and Washington and the Bay Area and Michigan, they all closed down pretty much overnight. There were some local efforts that persisted for a little while, but even then they shut down. And Children's Express is kind of a classic case of what happens when a wildly successful nonprofit founder suddenly exits without warning. Chasing large donors then distorts the mission. Growth sort of goes unchecked. The governance wasn't adequate to prevent the collapse. And the reason is because their brilliant and charismatic founder had always bailed them out and really had always prevented any real issues from taking place in the first place. Clampett's personal drive masked all the structural weaknesses that they had. And after he died, the new leadership pursued scale rather than figuring out what he was doing that worked in the first place. And the result was a rapid fall from award-winning innovator to shuttered nonprofit, and shuttered with debt and unfulfilled potential. It took about 5 years. The complete collapse took about 5 total years. The first warning signs were the transition away from what made Children's Express successful in the first place. In its prime, Children's Express gave young journalists open opportunities to highlight youth issues. Whatever was important to them was important to Children's Express. And its demise underscores how quickly things can collapse when that original vision becomes blurred or altogether changed. And so roughly 5 years after his death, this pioneering force for decades in youth media fell completely silent. And that's the danger. That's the lesson from Children's Express. Will we see that in other nonprofits whose founders suddenly die without warning? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. Because yesterday, we were told that Charlie was a hypocrite and a liar by Andrew Kolvet. I learned this late in the show yesterday. We talked about it a little bit in the comments, but I have sussed it out a little bit. We're going to go a little more into depth tonight. If you don't recall, Charlie had a pretty consistent message, and we'll look at a lot of examples of it tonight. He had a pretty consistent message across the board. When possible, women should stay home and raise their kids. When possible, women should stay home and raise their kids. Not every woman should stay home and raise their kids. Not every woman should have kids. If you absolutely despise kids, you don't want kids, you hate kids, you had a terrible traumatic childhood, you just don't want to deal with it, fine, then don't have kids. But when possible, when you can afford to, and we're going to, like I said, we're going to look at a lot of examples of what he said about this tonight. Children should stay home and raise kids, which is why it was a little confusing yesterday when Andrew Kolvet told us that privately, hold on. Privately, Charlie had a very different message. I haven't chimed in on the whole video saga yet because I find the entire thing absurd. Since the community note is 100% factually wrong, it's now impacting how Grok answers legitimate questions and needs to be corrected. This goes back to whether or not the video they released was true. Entire debate only exists because a handful of bad faith actors have spent months trying to attack Erika, destroy her organization her husband built, and divide the movement. Most, if not all, these people attacked Charlie when he was alive, and they found a new target since Charlie is now off limits. You can rebut lies with facts all you want, but they don't care, and they won't stop. Next, it's a chin mole is missing. Next, it's AI, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I take full responsibility for the chin mole. That was hilarious, by the way. It was funny. It was absolutely on brand with the way I like to do social media. So I apologize for that, ladies. Well, I don't apologize. I take full credit for it. It was great. I'm happy I did it. Pattern continually playing out, and the people need to see it for what it is. They launch a conspiracy theory. They say it's the smoking gun. It falls apart. A new theory appears, and the cycle repeats. Meanwhile, the people making these claims have no obligation whatever to prove them. They and their followers condemn the accused as guilty, demand a response to clear their name. The accused is then expected to respond, defend themselves, produce documents, provide explanations, and somehow prove a negative. The response is never sufficient because the response was never the objective. Goalposts move instantly. The answer was too defensive, too dismissive, or they find some irrelevant tidbit to pick apart, and the recycle repeats. It's a sucker's game. Obviously, none of that's true. This is a game they play where they create a straw man and then go set it on fire and act like they've defeated it. No one here, no one on our side, no one who's trying to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why is doing any of this. All we're trying to do is figure out why you're telling us Charlie Kirk would tell anyone who would listen that he wanted his wife to run TPUSA if something happened to him when it was so contrary to absolutely everything Charlie Kirk held dear in life. Every public statement he made was opposite of that. Every single public statement he made was opposite of that. You guys tell us privately he was expressing this. You tell us privately there's a video of this. And we say, wow, if it's so different from everything he said publicly, can we see the video? Because that seems really wild. So he mentions the video. I find the video largely irrelevant. Yeah, well, we don't. We don't find the video largely irrelevant. We don't at all. Again, as we will see tonight, and I'm going to go through a lot of examples, Charlie Kirk was insistent that women shouldn't be the CEO of a shoe company over staying home and raising their kids if they can afford to do so. And because you claim the video says the opposite of absolutely everything Charlie said in public, it becomes a compelling data point that everyone would like to take a look at. And because you're telling us it exists and you won't show it to us, we have to then assume there's a reason why you won't show it to us. Boards do not determine succession based on whether someone can produce a random clip. Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. And so if you had just said, hey, the board made a decision, guys, live with it, we're going to see what happens, then we'd have gone, okay. But to go one step further and say, not only did the board make the decision, Charlie thought this was the right decision to make, all of a sudden we go, well, that's weird because he told every other woman not to do this. Told every other woman who would listen, don't do this. And we'll show examples of that tonight. And so if it's true, if what you're saying is true, that Charlie communicated his wishes to them, to me personally on 3 or 4 occasions, to Erika, to Don Jr., to pastors, friends, and colleagues in private. If you're saying in private, Charlie said one thing, and in public, Charlie said something completely different, then Charlie is a hypocrite and a liar. That is the position you've put yourself in. That board voted unanimously to make Erika CEO. That should be the end of the story. Well, yeah, it should be. But again, it's one thing to say, hey, we didn't know what to do. We weren't expecting this. Erika knows a lot about the organization because she was married to Charlie, so we're going to put her in, at least temporarily, maybe permanently. We'll see how it goes. And people would say, okay, well, at least Charlie didn't die a hypocrite and a liar. Let's see how Erika does. But when you know all the clips that I'm going to play tonight exist and 1,000 times more of them, not just the ones I'm going to play, I mean, how long can a show be? You know, you can't play every clip that exists. But when you know all these clips exist and you know Charlie spoke on this issue time and time and time and time again, and he spoke to college students and said it, and he spoke to professionals and said it, and he spoke in podcasts and said it, and he spoke under tents at college events and said it, and he spoke on stages at conferences and said it, that women, when possible, should pick raising their kids over being the CEO of a company. He even used the CEO of a company many times. Oftentimes, he would say the CEO of a shoe company. I don't know why he liked that example, but it was the example he used quite a lot. But when we know this was his public position, and then you come out afterwards and say, yeah, but his private position was something else altogether. Yes, he did leave his wife tens of millions of dollars. He was a very wealthy man, and he left his wife a very wealthy widow. Ridiculously wealthy. The type of widow who can fly around on a Gulfstream 5 rather than fly coach. And even though she's that wealthy, that would never have to work a day in her life, nor would her kids ever have to work a day in her life, and they couldn't spend all that money if they tried. Charlie still wanted her to work. Yes, we know he told everybody else to stay home if they could. That was the best and highest use of a woman's time and efforts and energies and talents. And yes, he told everyone who would listen to that, but privately, he believed something altogether different when it came to his wife. Privately, Charlie believed women should be CEOs of large organizations. Privately, Charlie believed women should be in the office, even if they can afford to stay home. The position you've put us in, Andrew, because you're a lousy PR agent, the position you've put us in is to believe either you're lying, and Charlie never said that at all, in which case we have to wonder, why did the board put her in when it expressly against Charlie's wishes that a woman should be CEO when she has kids at home, young kids, 3 and 1 year old? Or we have to believe you're the one lying. Like you're lying or Charlie's lying. Both of you can't be telling the truth. Charlie cannot have been an honest man when he goes on college campus and says women should stay home if possible. And also behind the scenes saying, if something happens to me, I want my wife to be the CEO. So we'll go through some of these clips. Here quick. So let's start with this one. This is from, ironically enough, the Young Women's Leadership Summit, talking about whether or not this young woman, I think this is the one that said she wanted to be a doctor.
My name is Abigail, and I'm one of the co-presidents of the new TPUSA chapter at Pepperdine University in Malibu, California. My other co-president is right there. She's awesome. So, like these other women in this room, I am very driven career-wise, and my goals are set on succeeding as an orthopedic surgeon. And I have really rarely thought about even getting married, having children, and even going into dating. Like, it's just something that I never really thought about. Would you be able to give me some advice as somebody who so badly wants to succeed in surgery, but to get out of residency fellowship, I'm going to be 30 before I can really focus on myself. So what's some advice for really balancing my career as well as venturing into settling down?
You're
Okay, I don't know if you could hear very well. Sometimes their audience mics are pretty terrible, again, because they are SM58s, and you got to have it right up to you. I can't make it any louder. That's as loud as YouTube will give you. But here was her question. That's why I had the CC on the bottom. I don't know if you can read it, but here was her question. I want to be an orthopedic surgeon. I don't think very much about having kids or a family. I'll be 30 by the time I'm able to even consider it because of how much schooling I have left. I've got to go to college. I've got to go to medical school. That's another 4 years. I've got to do a residency. I've got to do an internship, maybe a fellowship. I'll be 30 before I can even consider it. So do you have some advice for me on how I can balance this? And here's Charlie's answer.
going to have to choose which one matters more.
You're going to have to choose which matters more. You're going to have to choose which matters more. I know it's cutting out. You guys keep commenting. I cannot make it, this is not something they're proud of right now. This is not something TPUSA is going to spend time going back and making sound better. They just want it to sound this way because they don't like what he's saying. In fact, they've deleted some of them played. We had to go find them in other places because they've taken them off the website because it's so contrary to what they're saying Charlie wanted. It makes Charlie look like a monster and a liar and a hypocrite. So they've actually gone out and tried to delete a lot of this stuff. But he basically says, look, you're going to have to choose. You're going to have to choose. You're not going to be able to do an effective job raising kids and being an orthopedic surgeon. You're not going to be able to do a good job waiting until you're 30 to find a spouse. You're not going to be able to do a good job. So I'll let it play. You're not going to be able to hear it. There's no reason to complain.
And that will be up to you. So first of all, thank you for being involved with Turning Point USA. So here's my piece of advice. Go try to spend a couple days with babies, and if it doesn't move you to want to have some of your own, then go do the surgeon thing.
So that's his advice. Go spend a couple of days with babies. If it doesn't move you to want to have your own, go be a surgeon. In other words, lady, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's probably not a good idea to try to do both. Does that mean no woman in the world should be a surgeon? No, that's not what he's saying. He's just saying if you do this, you have to understand you're sacrificing your ability to raise your kids. That's just something you're going to have to accept. So pick one. Pick one. Because you won't have the time to have a job like that and be an adequate mother. And he actually goes on to say, but understand what that's going to look like. You're going to be 35, 36. You're going to live alone and have cats. And one day you're going to wish you had kids. One day you're going to wish you had kids. So he goes to TPUSA Faith. And he sits down and says, as he's talking to the pastor here, that women are essentially choosing jobs over settling down and raising kids. So I'll back it up here because somehow my timestamp is not ideal. But that he goes in and makes it very clear here what his position would be. So let's hear from him on this issue here. Hopefully the sound's better here. I don't know.
The issue is that we're not having enough kids in this country. We're not. And that we've basically told a great generation of young women don't get married, don't have kids, go get a corporate job. And it's created mass political hysteria. And then in their early 30s, they get really upset because they say, you know, the boys don't want to date me anymore because they're not at their prime. And people get mad when I say that. Well, it's just true. If you're in your early 30s, I'm sorry. It's like you're not as attractive in the dating pool as you were in the early 20s. But again, you have your corporate job and cats. So I thought, and I feel sorry for a lot of these young ladies. They email me all the time and they say, Charlie, I'm broken down in tears. I'm 33. I earn $130,000 a year. I travel a lot and I have no one to share my life with. And I hope they find somebody in time. And that's why they always frame it. They're like, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. It's like, well, the culture did this to you, but you also made a decision. You made a decision consciously to not date with the intent to marry. And it creates a lot of bad consequences. I'm not saying that every young woman is called necessarily to be a mother, but almost every single one is. And almost every single one deep down wants to be a mother. And they're told, hey, I want it all. I want it all the time. You need to ask, if you had to choose, which would it be? A great, amazing career or a beautiful, healthy family? And they're never actually presented with that binary.
So you need to make a decision. Do you want a great career or do you want a beautiful family? In other words, you want to raise your kids. Now, again, this is not me saying this. It's not your humble host saying this. I'm not saying I entirely disagree with him. I probably would say it differently. If it was up to me, I would probably say it quite differently. Now, this next one's interesting because he's asked a question about modern feminism. I think his answer is quite spectacular. Listen here.
Feminism should be defined, and do you think it can be reconciled with conservatism?
It depends. There's first, second, and third wave feminism. First wave feminism is that women should have a right to vote. Second wave feminism had a lot of problems, which is the female liberation movement, that women should not just be at home, but they should get into the workforce. Third wave feminism is complete garbage, which is toxic modern day feminism. There are some good aspects of second wave feminism, but at the core of feminism, we have to ask the question is, has it made American women happier? And it hasn't, actually. American women are more suicidal, more depressed, more anxious than they were prior. You should have the agency and liberty to do whatever you want. But many women, a majority, like 90+% deep down, have this urge to reproduce and to raise children. And we are telling them to forsake that and go become a CEO of a shoe company.
We're telling them to forsake raising your children and go be the CEO of a shoe company or go be the CEO of a 9-figure nonprofit organization, either way, rather than raise your kids. Again, this is not me. This is not your humble host saying that I agree 100% with everything that he's saying. This is your humble host saying, these are Charlie's public words. Now, behind the scenes, we're told there was a totally different Charlie that existed. And you need to be very cautious of people who say one thing in public and one thing in private. You need to be very cautious, particularly on that one issue. Now, does Charlie give any insight into what it's like to have to be the CEO of Turning Point USA? Well, as a matter of fact, he does. Right here, for example.
Something that Charlie does that's really sweet that I love is that sometimes, especially when he's traveling, we figure out the dynamic of at least having a date night at least once a month, at least. But there'll be moments where he's literally about to rush out the door and I won't see him for several days. Kids are wreaking havoc in the kitchen, pulling things out all over, and he just grabs me and he's like, 1 minute. And we just literally stare at each other for a minute and say, like, I love you, whatever you need to say, but we have that 1 minute together to reset our hearts. And honestly, that is something that helps recharge the bucket until you get that date night. So just being really intentional about little moments that will build into a greater good for the relationship. But I know you.
No, I agree with all that. Just prioritize. Obviously, your marriage actually comes before your kids. I know that's a provocative thing to say, but it's true. Your relationship with your kids is important.
Yes.
But it's not covenantal.
Right.
Your marriage is a covenant. Your relationship with your kids is an outgrowth of a covenant. They're under your stewardship, but covenantal relationships are ones that we saw with Abraham and David and Israel and, of course, Jesus.
So even in a covenantal relationship that's primary to the kids, he gets 1 minute here or there because he's the CEO of this company. He gets 1 minute here or there, and maybe if they're lucky, a date night once a month. That's what it takes to be the CEO of TPUSA. Here is where he describes how little time he has to spend with the family. Again, this is him describing what it's like being CEO of TPUSA.
Necessity for survival. I'll go camping, okay?
His camping's like the Four Seasons.
Yeah, exactly, okay? No, I no shame in that, okay? I have a busy life. I get like 3 days off a year. I'm not going to like hang my food by a tree.
He's got a busy life and gets 3 days off a year. That's what it takes to do the job of Charlie Kirk. That's what it takes to be the CEO of TPUSA. You're going to get 3 days off a year. Is there anybody who honestly believes behind the scenes Charlie was telling everyone who would listen to him? Behind the scenes. I would love nothing more, if something happens to me, than my wife to only get 3 days off a year, to only have a minute here or there. And if she's lucky, maybe get one night a month where she can have some kind of a date night or something. That's the life I want for my children. That's the life I want for my kids. I'll be dead, and I want Erika to have 3 days off a year to spend with the family. That's a tough ask for me to believe that. Now, can women have a family and still succeed? This girl has a great question. I think he gives a solid answer, or they both do. Frankly, Erika gives a solid answer.
They can have
Let me back it up just a hair. I want to get this woman's question in here because she did an excellent job with it. She's a really good question. Let's see what I can find where she starts here. Give her props. She went all that way, traveled to the conference, asked the money question. Let me get it on here.
Next question.
Hi, Mr. Kirk. My name is Nevaeh. I'm 18 years old, and I was homeschooled my whole life and just graduated last year. Thank you. So right now, I'm in that period of my life where I'm trying to establish myself. So I've been working for myself online as a YouTuber and a podcaster from the time I was 15. I'm actually trying to work for you right now. So that's what I've been focusing on. But I do have a really strong desire as a Christian to eventually get married and have children, and I want to homeschool my kids as well eventually. So I'm wondering what your advice is for balancing those two desires and what to prioritize at what stage of your life, since women can't have it all.
Since women can't have it all, how do you balance career and family? How do you balance career and family? Listen carefully to this answer. This was, I believe, just a couple of months before he passed away.
women. They can have it all, but it's not simultaneously, like different seasons. Your career, again, like I said, is not going anywhere. So what you're establishing now on YouTube and your platform and all that stuff, it's not going anywhere. What I will recommend, though, is when you do have children, do not use your children as pawns for a discount code. Do not use your child for a free stroller, for some influencer thing. Your children are sacred. Protect them. That is your role as a mother. Your platform was given to you by God, so steward it well and steward it properly. But it's not going to go anywhere. What you're building now is not going to get destroyed. I think that's what a lot of people get misconstrued, is thinking like, okay, what I'm building now is going to be worthless once I have a family. No, God will redirect it. He'll turn it into whatever it needs to turn into. Pray on it, because it's not always super clear, but it will come to you. And I think that, yes, every season is going to come and have its own time and turn, but if this is what you're focusing on right now, like that's what you're focusing on. I mean, I don't.
I think you're in a great spot, honestly,
Yeah.
and Erika answered it beautifully. So, again, if you have to always prioritize what matters most, and with that, the Lord will open up the right doors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
You can have it all, but not all at the same time. In other words, she said it pretty. You might have to put the YouTube career on hold for a little bit to raise your family. Those of us who do this for a living know how much time it takes. I work more now than I did before in private practice. Way more. Way more. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that you put in. It's not unusual to hit 80, 90, 100-hour weeks, putting content together, doing the stuff you have to do, go live, do the post-production stuff, clips, edits. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to put all this stuff together. And what she's saying is that might be incompatible, probably will be incompatible. You're going to have to choose. You can't do it at the same time. You can't do it at the same time. It's just too much to try to accomplish. Now, we have an interesting problem here because we have some really good clips on this issue, and miraculously, they've been removed from both YouTube and Rumble. But we were able to track them down. But as a result, you're not going to hear any of this on. You're not going to hear any of this. You're not going to see any video of this. All you're going to see is, I guess, my Spotify screen. I don't know anything else I can do for it. But I want to go through some of these clips because they're really, really excellent questions, particularly the first one. And this is a problem that TPUSA runs into over and over and over again. This is something they ran into at the Women's Leadership Summit just this last week. And I will play this wonderful, wonderful question and the word salad of a response when everybody realizes just how hard it is for them to answer this question. Oop, why is it not playing sound?
Especially on Friday, was that I should, quote, get married and have babies.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't say all of them are there because they.
Let me back it up a little bit because I think I missed her question.
Young Women's Leadership Summit, and all of the women that spoke on that stage today and yesterday, because it's a Young Women's Leadership Summit, and all of the women that spoke on that stage today and yesterday were there because they pursued a career. And a key takeaway that I took from most of the speeches, especially on Friday, was that I should, quote, get married and have babies.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's something they run into a lot. Because in order to invite someone to the stage, it has to be someone you've heard of, or else you're not going to pay your money, fly to San Antonio, fly to Phoenix, fly to San Diego, wherever it happens to be. You're not going to pay to go listen to, Mrs. Summers from Lincoln, Nebraska, who's, a homeschooling mother of 3. Like, that's not something that's likely to arise. Just not something that's likely to come up. And so you have to balance, I think, what he's going to say. Well, I'll just let him say what he
Say all of them are there because they pursued a career, but maybe I'd have to think about the entire career. That's fine. Look, but you should actually, I could flip it on you. The people that have pursued a career are telling you to pursue kids.
The people who pursued a career are telling you to pursue kids. That's the answer. That's a weird answer. Yes, we understand that by them pursuing a career, they've had these wild successes and are famous enough that you would pay your hard-earned money to come listen to them. And yes, they're telling you to stay home and raise children, but maybe listen to them because obviously that's their position after becoming wealthy and famous.
Maybe they know something you don't know because they could actually tell you. So they're the ones that have all this career success, and then they're also telling you maybe there's something more beautiful. Would you like to follow up? Yeah.
So I understand that, but don't you think that they had children and got married to their wonderful husbands because of their career? Like if they didn't pursue that career, that wouldn't have happened. I thought that one of the speakers today was really cool about this. And she talked a bit about how you can have a child and a family while also pursuing your career. Amanda?
Yeah, and again, that's for every one person to decide. Again, I'll just repeat the numbers that I said last night. If you are.
So this girl's great. She said, okay, well, there was one speaker that said you can do both. What do you make of her, Mr. Kirk?
Single by the age of 30, you have a 50% chance of never having kids. And if you are single by the age of 30, you have a 50% chance of not getting married. So you just have to prioritize. You have to aim it. You aim at what is right and what is good. I think the purpose of this conference is whatever takeaway you want to have. It's a resurgence of patriotism, first and foremost, of true femininity, not this toxic type that is being pushed down, of traditional norms and roles that if you want to be a mom, you are a superhero, and we want to encourage you, and we want to promote that, and we want to help you in that regard. But I'll also tell you this. I hope that some of you guys walk away with a warning that a career-driven life is very empty.
If you want to be a mom, you'll be a superhero, and we'll support you. But a career-driven life, I hope you understand the warning, is going to leave you very empty. That is his message to that young woman. And so, I mean, it's just, some of these things just become absolutely devastating when they try to gaslight us into believing that this is not the life Charlie wanted for his wife, that he worked as hard as he did, put as many hours as he put in, traveled, only took 3 days a year off so that his wife would have the resources to stay home. And then he was privately telling everybody, man, she needs to get back to work. Man, she needs to get back to work. What in the world is she doing wasting all this time? She should be back in the office. Get your pumps on, lady.
And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erika. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what.
I would not have been able to fulfill my duties as CEO, but for someone staying at home raising my kids. I would not have been able to do what I did to be an effective CEO of TPUSA, but for Erika staying home and raising the kids. And I'm just, we continue because but Baron, this seems a little repetitive. No. That's the point, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point. Of course it's repetitive. My point is I could do 1,000 of these clips from Charlie Kirk over the last 10 years. I could pull up 1,000 clips of him saying, and trust me, they get harder and harder as I go tonight. The last few are going to floor you that you would then believe he told his wife to be the CEO of the company if anything should happen to him. The point is he told anyone who would listen his position. And we're supposed to believe that he then turned around and looked Andrew Kolvet in the face and said, everything I just said is total BS. Don't listen to any of it. What I want is Erika in the office. I want her to only have 3 days off a year. I want her to have 1 minute here and there that she can dedicate to family. The rest of the time, chained to the desk.
Going into a male-dominated field is we don't get a lot of maternity leave, and I wonder what your mindset on that one is.
Which one matters more, great family or great career?
Family.
You should want to meet your future husband that will be able to make enough money that you can quit.
You should want to meet your future husband that makes enough money that you can quit. You should want to meet a husband who makes enough money so that you can quit. I'll play it again just in case you didn't hear it. I don't know if Blakey, Andrew, some of our biggest fans, probably in that 23% last night who watched and were not subscribers.
With going into a male-dominated field is we don't get a lot of maternity leave, and I wonder what your mindset on that one is.
Which one matters more, great family or great career?
Family.
You should want to meet your future husband that will be able to make enough money that you can quit.
He's either a liar, a hypocrite, a monster, or they're lying, meaning Andrew and Blake and everybody who's, oh, yeah, Charlie all the time told us how he wanted Erika chained to her office desk. All the time. That's all he talked about. It's all he talked about. He goes on with this young lady to explain that having kids is better than being chained to a desk doing spreadsheets.
With going into a male-dominated field is we don't get a lot of maternity leave, and I wonder what your mindset on that one is.
Which one matters more? Great family or great career?
Family.
You should want to meet your future husband that will be able to make enough money that you can quit. You have a career. If something doesn't work out, you'll be able to support yourself. But deep down, women in America, they have kids, and they weep to themselves when they have to go and put their 9-month-old in daycare. I want to live in a country where if a woman does not want to go to work having to have a kid, she does not have to go to work, and she could stay at home and raise those kids.
Is he a monster? Is he a monster? Is he a lying, hypocritical monster? Because if we are to believe that behind the scenes, he was telling everybody that he wanted Erika to take over as TPUSA CEO and only get 3 days off a year and just a minute here or there to herself and her family, and that she should have wanted to meet someone who left her the resources so that she could quit, and she did. Even if she only had the $6 million Tucker Carlson raised for her, she could quit. I mean, at 3% interest, put it in an annuity. You make $180,000 a year. You can raise kids on that. You can probably get a 6% annuity right now. $360,000 a year. You live a good life. Invest the money differently. You might be able to even get a better return than that. And that's just the Tucker Carlson money. That's not the Scottsdale mansion. That's not the $1 million condo on the beach in Naples. That's not all the book sale money that we know he has. That's not his private equity investments in various capital groups that we know he has. That's not the podcast revenue that we know he has. That was quite lucrative. He had the #1 podcast in America. That's worth something. It's now like the number 2,450,000th podcast in America, but it was #1 when he was there. And then we go to the day before he died. The day before he died. This is the very famous, if you recall, very famous clip where he's looking off to the side, staring off to the side when it opens. You remember this? Oh, I don't have volume. Hold, please. Let's try that again. You remember that clip where he's staring off to the side?
Founder and CEO.
See that? You guys remember that, right? Do you remember what he talked about as soon as this broke in? I do.
Of Turning Point USA. Charlie, there's some good news here, clearly, with the conservative young male voters and folks. But what is going on with women and not wanting to prioritize family?
Well, that's an awkward question. And looking back, 24 hours after this interview, he'd be dead. So one of the very last questions he was publicly asked, what's going on with women not wanting to prioritize their family? What is it that he says is the problem?
Yeah, this is a pattern that I've seen time and time on these college campuses where young men are ordering their life correctly. They want to first and foremost have children, get married, and then have a nice job or to be able to travel. If you look deeper into this data, it's completely consistent with other data we've seen the last couple of years. Young women, they don't value having children. And this is one of the reasons why we are seeing a fertility collapse in the West. We're seeing less and less young people get married. We're seeing more and more people go into their 30s to have children. Now, mind you, this is starting to change the last 18 months, especially. We are seeing a little bit of a turning of the corner, if you will, as the country is starting to get more into traditionalism and young people are starting to go back to church. But if you play out the liberal worldview, the Kamala Harris worldview to its furthest possible logical point, you have a country with literally no future. When you play out the logical endpoint of
President Trump's agenda of where young men voted for him. You have one of lots of children, increasing communities, and you also don't have a need then for mass immigration. And this all kind of ties together. Trump voters, young men, they want family, children, and legacy. Young women who voted for Kamala Harris, they want careerism, consumerism, and lowliness.
That's that famous piece of paper he had on his desk that Erika spotted while she was in that very seat talking to Glenn Beck. But careerism, consumerism, and loneliness, as opposed to wanting to have children. We go back to this moment that we saw a moment ago. She asks him about this.
And I think that a better way to propose feminism in the public media would be not to eliminate having children and tell women that they shouldn't have children, but to figure out your career first before you decide to like settle down, because you can't really undo that once you have kids.
Charlie, what advice would you give young women who've been taught to put their careers first before even thinking about settling down or having kids?
I always get in trouble no matter how I answer this question, Laura.
Well,
so here it goes. Look, I'll say this is that having children is more important than having a good career. I have 2 kids. I also have an amazingly blessed career. Our podcast is doing great, but my kids matter way more than how many social media followers that I have. And I would also tell young ladies, you can always go back to your career later.
You can always go back to your career later. You can always go back to your career later. So what is it? Do we believe he actually told Andrew Kolvet that? Do we believe he actually told Andrew Kolvet, Don Jr., the board, Blake Sneff, pastors, friends, colleagues, anyone who was in his orbit? Do we believe that Charlie Kirk told every single person who would listen, when a microphone was not in his hand, that he wanted Erika to undertake the rigors of his schedule if anything should happen to him? Or do we believe he said the same things privately that he said publicly? You can always go back to your career. Families first. Kids are most important. If you can afford to stay home with your kids, do it. Find a husband that can make enough money for you that you can quit. You got to decide. Do you want to be an orthopedic surgeon or do you want to be a mom? Who was he? Because if Andrew Kolvet is to be believed, I might have to reevaluate everything I think about him. If this paragraph number 3 right here is true, I don't know why we're lauding Charlie as this great human being. I don't know why everybody acts like he's this shining example of what a person should be. If this is an accurate representation of what Charlie said behind the scenes. Charlie handpicked the board, communicated his wishes to them, to me personally on 3 or 4 occasions, to Erika, to Don Jr., who's gone on the record, to pastors, friends, and colleagues. Well, I think the reason, Andrew, you find the video largely irrelevant would be because this is the first example of a surviving video of Charlie Kirk's life where he told someone who can absolutely afford to stay home that the career is more important. Because remember, he said you have to prioritize one. You have to prioritize one or the other. You know, we often try to pluralize the word priority. We make the word priorities. We say, get your priorities in order. Well, you can't have priorities. The word pri means one, first. Primary. Priority. Primera for our Spanish-speaking friends. You've got only one priority. And he said you have to figure it out. Is it your career or is it your kids? You can always go back to work after you raise your kids and they get a little older. If you can afford to quit, do it. Find a husband that will allow you to afford to quit. And if you can only have one priority, and you have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old at home, do you really believe Charlie said, I want her priority to be work? I want her priority to be work? Putting on fancy dresses, going to White House Correspondents' Dinners, speaking at faith events, speaking at Young Women's Leadership Summit, coming into the office, recording podcasts, making TV appearances, going on book tours, flying to New York for 5-day trips to counter Candace Owens in December, flying to Candace Owens to try to counter what she was saying in December, flying to West Palm, flying to Athens, Georgia, flying to Ole Miss, flying to... Do we really believe that's the life he wanted her to live? You can have one priority. There's no such thing as priorities. We've created that word in the English language. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's a fiction. It's a myth. You have one priority. One. If you can afford to stay home and mother your kids, Charlie Kirk would say, publicly anyway, Charlie Kirk would say, choose that. Privately, apparently, he was a liar. And he lied very publicly when he told us all this. Because privately, what we're told is he goes to pastors, he goes to friends, he goes to colleagues, he goes to Don Jr., he goes to Andrew on at least 3 or 4 occasions, Erika, maybe daily, I don't know how often he said it to her, the board and everybody else, anyone who would listen, as long as there was no microphone running, as long as there was no video camera running, anyone who would listen, he would tell them, if anything happens to me, I want Erika to take over my job. I only want her to have 3 days off a year. I want her flying all over the country. I want her to have the stress of managing a 9-figure organization. I want her to have the stress of having to manage fundraisers. I want her to have to pick up the phone. I want her to be so deep into this job, doing it so well that she has to pick up the phone and says, I think they're trying to kill me. I think they're going to kill me. I want her to have to wear a bulletproof vest, have a contract with a bulletproof vest outfitter. That was weirdly canceled in the spring right before he died, but he used to have a bulletproof vest supplier. So when he went in public, if somebody shot him, he had a chance to survive. I want her to be in a situation where some guy that lives with a furry in St. George, Utah might decide to take her out. Where Harrison Smith has to put up a tweet in August, 3 or 4 weeks before he dies, that says, Charlie told a friend of mine that if anybody kills him, it's the Israelis. That's what I want for Erika and my kids. That's the life I want her to have. Now, in front of a microphone, in front of a camera, stay home, girl. Stay home. Go on, girl, get home. Go, get. But publicly, that's publicly. But privately, when there are no cameras rolling, I want your life to be in danger, old lady. I want you to be stressed to the gills. I want you to work nonstop. I want you in pumps. I want you in dresses. I want you playing in curtains in Washington, D.C., right before a gunman breaks in and tries to shoot everybody. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want Frank Turek, when you pull up, I want Frank Turek and your security team to look around and go, I don't know, guys, this doesn't look safe. I want her to have to go to donor summits, emergency meetings in the Hamptons, where things get heated. I want my wife to deal with that. That's what I want for her. That's what I, Charlie Kirk, privately want for my wife. Of course, publicly, I'm going to tell you the exact opposite. I'm going to tell you that women should prioritize children if they can afford to, and they should stay home and raise their kids if they can afford to. But publicly, that's just publicly. We're talking privately. Privately here, I want her out there in the fight. I want her to hear the bullets whizzing by. That's what I need for her. I don't believe them. I don't believe them. And I believe that's why they find the video largely irrelevant. I believe that's why they're refusing to release it. Because I don't believe he said it. I don't believe he said it at all. And if he did say it, I believe he said it in a context that makes it very clear that's not at all what he wanted. Which is why they won't release the whole thing in context. They're not going to release the question and the answer because that would allow us to do what we're doing here, is evaluate it, put it up on a screen and say, well, let's see. What did he say? How did he say it? Did he say it with a smirk? Was he joking? Did he say it at all? Or was it that AI company they were consulting with? Again, I believe this line right here is a total unadulterated lie. Yes, Charlie was asked about this once when the camera was on him, and he said exactly what he always did. Erika should take over, would take over should something, God forbid, happen to him, and she would do a great job. And I think that's a lie. I think it's a lie. And I think they've been caught. I think this was an unforced error. As we talked about last night, this did not have to happen. They could have accepted his fate and just come out and said, hey, the board, caught unaware, was not expecting the death of a 31-year-old. His wife has some name ID. She's broadly familiar with what we do as an organization. We've got some really competent people around her, and we're going to make the best of it. So get to know Erika. She's going to be taking some time to grieve, but when she is ready, you'll be hearing a lot more from her. Okay. But they had to go on and add in every one of those announcements, this is exactly what Charlie wanted. Trust us. This is what he wanted. We didn't kill him. This is what he wanted. I promise, guys. I promise. And then they had to have Erika run out there when Megyn Kelly was asking a totally other question and say, oh, yeah. This is what I saw the video. This is exactly what Charlie wanted. But I don't believe it. I think he's lying. So, yeah. Our principal should be back tomorrow. So when I come back tomorrow, it probably will be a little bit later start. But in her absence, I was very thankful. She reached out earlier in the day and said she wasn't going to be going today, which allowed us to plan. Because Daisy and I usually plan kind of starting about when the show is going to start and then sort of work backwards. Candace was very kind and was like, hey, I'm going to be taking another day off. So if you want to go earlier, tonight's your night. And I was very, very thankful for her because otherwise I would have planned for a 6 or 7 o'clock start and we'd have all been an hour or two behind. So thankful for our dear principal. Thankful she was kind enough to send along her plans. If you've had an opportunity if you've liked the video, please, by all means, go ahead and click the like button. If you have not liked the video, well, you don't have to click the like button. But if you have, by all means, that would be very helpful. We usually do a pretty good job of hitting the like button. Pretty good. Not excellent, but pretty good. Tonight we're doing fair to middling. We could do better. If you are a subscriber, good. Check and make sure you're still subscribed. If you are not a subscriber, now's a great time to do that. If you want to click the notification, you will get some information on when we go live. And I'll go through some of your comments. We are in Enoch, Utah. Is Enoch in that great mess of places where everybody else is in Utah, right around the between Salt Lake and down there? Enoch. It's named after, I'm assuming, Enoch in the Bible. I'm looking it up, ladies and gentlemen. I love learning about geography. Oh, no, that's way down there. That's in Tyler Robinson territory. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen, for whoever that is. I can't pronounce that name. We got a live one. Baron, Jack, and Jess from Lake Travis, Austin. We adore you. Just bought merch. Price is king. Go Max. Yeah, if you've not had an opportunity to pick up some merch, I'll put a scroller up there. realbaronpodcast.com, and that has the merch scroller down there in the bottom. I'll let that run a minute, and then I'll take it off because it kind of makes me feel dizzy at running. New subscriber. It's been curious to me. E doesn't seem close to Charlie's parents. Wouldn't they be defending her if they had a good relationship? God bless you and that new baby. Christ is king forever. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last night. I don't know if you were watching, however you pronounce that, Renee Lucas. I don't know if you're watching, but we talked about that a little bit. Because Erika is now the sole custodian of the children, if Charlie's parents were to get crossways with her, I think that would put their ability to interact with those kids and be a part of their life in grave jeopardy. And they probably don't want to lose access to the kids. So why would you alienate the mother? So I don't know that you can read too much into it. Thank you, Granddad Baron, for all you and Daisy do to seek and share the truth. You have a way with words, and you articulate so well. He's articulate, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Joe Biden said about Barack Obama, that he was articulate, as if he expected him not to be. Thank you for your insight that feeds our curious minds. Christ is king indeed. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else remembered an interview that was circulating after Charlie Kirk passed when an interviewer asked, what do you want your legacy to be? And Charlie seemed surprised, annoyed, like, if I die? Didn't mention Erika either. Yeah, he said, I think he said his legacy, he wanted to be his faith, if I'm not mistaken. He wanted his faith to be his legacy. Opening statement request, Jim Garrison, our principal, and the decentralized intelligence agency. Ooh. Christ is king indeed. I don't want to do an opening on our principal. You guys know her. What am I going to say? I don't know what I would say. Jim Garrison would be fun. We've talked a little bit about Kennedy, but we haven't gone into too much depth. Ephesians 6:14. Blessed are you, Baron and family. Thank you. Thank you. I watched last night's show 3 times. Loved it when you went off on Andrew. You rocked. Well, tonight was a little calmer presentation. I hope you understand. I had a night to sleep on it. I had a night to marinate on it. I had a night to think about it. Last night, I was pretty angry when I read that, to be honest with you. Like, oh, and by the way, Charlie's a monster. I mean, that's basically what his tweet said. That's what his tweet said. You guys are spending all this time investigating this national treasure, and he was a monster. He was a liar. He was a hypocrite. I may have missed it somewhere, but when you saw Sean Ryan at dinner, did you speak to him? No, I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people. It was a small, literally there are 8 or 10 tables in this restaurant. And so it's not a place where you like get up and go over and talk to somebody. So no, I didn't. It's not my style. I like Sean Ryan quite a lot, though. I would have loved to have spoken with him. Shout out to my husband, Preston, who was baptized yesterday. Congratulations, Preston. What wonderful news. We met at 18 years old. I love seeing him find his own way to God after 17 years of loving him. Well, Savannah, if my math, Williamson County Public Schools, if they didn't let me down, 35 years old, a great age to be baptized. He's got a long life ahead of him. Baron, first super chat ever. You're my fave and part of my night routine. Thanks for all you do. Christ is king indeed. Also, my 2 littles love watching you and Candace. Your 2 littles sound like they're brilliant, and they're on the path to being really brilliant biggies. But thank you. Thank you. Very kind of you. Since I missed the biggest fan live on the other night, say your biggest fan in Delano, Pennsylvania. Population 120. Well, not a lot of competition in Delano, huh? Is it named after the president? Delano Roosevelt? Franklin Delano Roosevelt? Or the Delano family? Oh. Purple hoodie is my favorite. Oh, is this purple? Believe it or not, on the website, the description is I can't remember exactly, like electric blue or something. Doesn't look very blue. I think the idea if they called it purple, people wouldn't buy it maybe. So they give it a blue flavor. But yeah, it's got a periwinkle edge to it. Hey, Baron, what do you think about Mark Levin's post regarding the USA turning its back on our greatest ally? Does he really believe they come first over America? Americans? Go Max always. Christ is king indeed. Mark Levin, let's go and look at it. I have to read it in Mark's voice. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh no. When I open it up, there's a Tucciarone post about Alex Clark's new squeeze. And I'm going to read it. I can't help it, guys. I probably shouldn't do this on screen, but I'm going to because I don't particularly care for Alex, and she blocked me after having never interacted with her, which I thought was obscene. I worked at TPUSA as an openly gay guy. I watch closeted dudes fake straight for the brand. Then they throw actual gays under the bus. Hypocrisy level expert. Alex Clark announces her engagement at the Women's Leadership Summit. Then her fiance's old barista video drops. I clocked it instantly the first time I saw them together. These people preach trad while performing the straightest cosplay imaginable. Be honest with yourselves instead of LARPing for clout. Have you guys seen this video?
I don't understand that what we do here is art. Oftentimes people come and you're like, they don't understand. They're demanding things. And as an artist, you have to take your time. You have to create art. You can't rush art. People don't understand.
I'm going to go find Mark Levin's tweet, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to comment. I'll get myself in trouble. I'm smart enough to not get myself in trouble. What is Mark Levin's tweet about? Let's see. He's got so many. I don't know which one you're talking about here. He tweets like every 5 minutes. Did he not read the article they put out on algorithms and how to best use? Oh my gosh, his whole feed is nothing but our greatest ally. I'm not. I don't know. To answer your question is I didn't see it, and you didn't give me enough information to know where to find it. So better. I will try again later. Early modern English verb tenses are tricky, but it should be doth protesteth too much. Oh, that's. I'll allow that. Oh, please. Sorry, guys. Serious business. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Doth protesteth too much. For all of TPUSA's blundering attempts at PR. Yeah. So I'll allow it. I never claimed to speak early modern English very well. Shakespeare wasn't my jam. Erika's wearing an Eastern Star ring. No, she wasn't. Last weekend at her show, Sister Frat to the Freemasons. No, she was not. I got a pic of Jesus. I got a pic. Jesus loves you, so do I. No, that's not an Eastern Star ring. What that is a ring of his Medal of Freedom. She had a miniaturized version of his Medal of Freedom made into a ring. That's what that is. Remembering the USS Liberty today. Indeed, lots of brave, courageous Americans perished on this day, 58 or 9 years ago? Just a heads up, my likes have been disappearing. No. I'll like it again. Like it again. Howdy from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Thanks for the spectacular show, Christ is King indeed. The glass line tanks in Latrobe, Rolling Rock, Latrobe. God, come on, Rolling Rock, guys, seriously. That was like a big beer when I was a kid. Boomer here. Can't catch me, TPUSA. Christ is King indeed. No, you guys are off limits. Oh no, you're the target audience now. Last week I called you querido. Google told you that meant darling, but it also means beloved, and that's how I meant it. Keep going, Max. Christ is King indeed. I actually liked darling just fine. Mi querido. I liked it just fine. Me gusta. I'm watching. So sometimes late modern English tenses are tough, lady. Not you, Lauren. Not you. I was talking to the other lady. I've watching since the beginning. Never missed a show. I was a big fan of Charlie. Just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work and dedication to this. He is definitely smiling down at you, Candace. You are a legend. I've wondered. I never met him. I've wondered what it would have been like to meet him. But for his foreign policy, like I love his economic libertarianism arguments. Like early Charlie, I'm good with. There was about a 4-year gap there in the middle, Charlie 2.0, where he went like super Z. Not a big fan of that period of Charlie. The last year or two, more of a fan as he started to come to a greater realization of what was going on in the world. Love what you do, Baron. So glad to catch you live from Western Australia, near Perth. Congratulations, Granddad. Oh, all the way from New Braunfels, Texas. I've seen you on a lot of flight trackers. Candace playing a real chess game. I have chills. Yeah, that was wild. Candace told us she had the video, and that's why she was daring them to drop theirs. She's always light years ahead of these idiotic morons. Yeah. See, guys, you've got to sometimes force their hand. It makes them make a mistake. If they know everything you have and what it looks like, then they can start to formulate their lies. But if they don't know what you have and what it looks like, they can't really respond. They have to come up with ridiculous jump cuts and sound changes. Perhaps like many suspect, the statement appointing Erika was taken out of context. He was talking about Erika being in charge of the Young Women's Leadership Summit, not TPUSA. It could have been anything. Could have been, maybe he was saying she does her own podcast. I point her to be in charge of the podcast. I mean, I thought the statement that, God forbid if something happens to me, we've got a good board, they'll figure it out, was pretty definitive. Like, that's admitting the board is going to figure it out. That's who's going to make the call. I did not attempt to watch that guy, but I did attempt, but I only lasted about 2 minutes listening to his bull butter and talking doo-doo. Well, I think our ignoring is probably our best path going forward. They should learn to just not do or say anything. Candace will always find the holes. From Northport, Florida. I'm so glad I started listening. I'm glad you started listening, K-I-M. Kim. Very creative. Baron, can you say hi to Samantha, Justin, and JJ, and to my wonderful husband, Jose? They say I am your number one fan, all the way from North Miami Beach, Florida. I had to go to North Miami Beach one time. We lived in Key Largo, Florida, and there was a guy that worked with me at a restaurant there, and he did a ride home one time, and I figured, like, I lived a mile away from the restaurant. I lived at the 100-mile marker-ish. Well, really right at the 100-mile marker in Key Largo. It was right near the back of the Port Largo Canal right there. And so I just assumed, yeah, you need a ride home? Sure, I got you, brother. Where are we going? He said, I'll show you how to get there. So we started heading north. And I found out North Miami Beach, Florida is a long way from where I was. I had no idea he drove that far on a regular basis to go to work. Now, it was a good job. It was a great restaurant. It's called the Fish House, if you've ever been there. Great place to eat. A huge Tucker Carlson fan. Never missed an episode. I seriously doubt he will have you on, as he is avoiding the CK unaliving like the plague. Well, he had Jimmy Dore on, and he let Jimmy Dore rumble for like 9 minutes. He was like Blake Neff. And then I went this way. And then I went this way. And then I went this way. He was like Blake Neff without all the blatant racism. It was like a less racist, less misogynistic, way less stalkerish version of Blake Neff. He was slicing and dicing, baby. He was moving. Dang, I thought I had burned Switzerland in the bag, but it was taken. You're an international star, I guess. I want to visit the U.S. Any Rex? Congrats on your Morfarhood, and God bless you and the fam. Christ is king indeed. Recommendations to visit the United States? Yeah, do it. That's my recommendation. It's a big country. I mean, I can't Nashville's nice. New York's kind of played out. If you've ever watched a movie, you feel like you've been there. It's expensive. It's crowded. It smells bad. It's loud. Not really my scene. I'll say this. People who live there love it. Like, if you are living in New York, even if you're not from New York, if you live in New York, for some reason, they love it. Not my scene. I like hills and trees and birds. Not pigeons, but cardinals. Blue Jays. Finches. Yeah, but I mean, for those that live there, they seem to love it. I think it's kind of played out. I would do like I don't know, like a small to mid-size city and try to get the true Americana experience, not some like tourist type destination or overly commercial destination. Like maybe, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of a good one. Now the problem is all the cities are kind of dangerous hellholes. Like I almost said Indianapolis, but someone got shot in a parking garage going to a minor league baseball game. The other day. Fort Worth, Texas, maybe something like that. Fort Worth, Texas. That'd be kind of a cool town to visit. It's got a big airport. You can probably fly direct from anywhere. And kind of safe. It's kind of safe. Love your show, Bubba Baron. Quick bone to pick. Oh, no, Texas girl here. If you're going to say our state's name in Spanish, it's not Teja, it's Tejas. Do you live in tennis? How about the peeps in Florida or Arizona, Kentucky? I'll allow it. I thought you were going to like waylay me when you said you had a bone to pick. I got a bone to pick with you. Add one more letter to my state. Oh, okay. I'll do that. Hi, Baron. Just bought my Go Max hoodie. I'm excited. You're number one fan from St. George, Utah. I'm going to go there one day. I'm not going to tell anyone when I'm going. I'll take a week off and you guys will all assume I'm there. May not be there. May not be there at all. Yeah, check out some of this new merch. Let me show you some of this stuff. We got some cool stuff going on here. For example, I'll pull this down so you guys can get a good gander here. We've got a brand new number one fan of the man in Tennessee. That's pretty fun. Of course, we have our Curious Mind. We got the Baronisms t-shirt and sweatshirt. Just the RBP Baronisms sweatshirt. We've got the Befuddled by Daffodils. Never know when you're going to need to be befuddled by daffodils. Bull Butter and Sass for the ladies. Well, I guess the Alex Clark's boyfriend can wear that. We got some Nothing But Bull Butter for the kids. That's kind of cute. Yeehaw, a bunch of Bull Butter. We got a whole Bull Butter lineup, apparently. Get a Daisy. Whole bunch of daisies there. Obviously, this one's great. Daisy actually makes an appearance on that one. If you look closely here. But yeah, we got our classic stuff up. So we're gonna probably retire some of this classic lineup. The original, the first hoodie. This is my son's favorite hoodie. He wears it everywhere. So we'll probably retire some of that early stuff. So if you think you want some of the first edition stuff, now may be the time to eat it. This is my favorite hoodie here. Just quick, clean, simple, to the point. Comes in all these different colors. You can get it in blue aqua, mint. Yeah, so good stuff there. So check it out, realbaronpodcast.com. A lot of good stuff up. But I thought about that when she said number one fan. Oh, snap. Take cover. Incoming truth. Yes. Lots of truth on the way at all times. Could be my mind playing tricks on me. Scarface. Sit alone in my four-corner room staring at candles. Or the camera angle, but the clear acrylic podium where his water was sitting looks noticeably different in the TPUSA video compared to the one Candace released. So I have not had a chance to look at all that yet. So I will, because she just put that up right as we went live, or like right before. So we'll do our evaluation and determine what we think about it. Sitting here like this. Yes, indeed. Unrelated, but looking for cookies in the international aisle at Publix. I found a candy in a green can. You mentioned the other day. I got influenced. Yeah, you talking about this right here? Sour lemon drops. That's where I got them. Publix. They're dynamite too. I hope you enjoyed them. Not too sweet, not too sour. It's very confusing. My wife and I tried them. We both bought them. We were on our way home from the store. I was like, break into those sour lemon drops. Ahora. And she was like, all right. And so we did. Open them up. We both put it in, and we both kind of looked at each other. I said, what do you think? She goes, I like it. She's like, it's not sour. And I was like, no. She's like, and it's not sweet. I'm like, it's a little sweet. She's like, well, it's a little sour. So it's a little sweet and a little sour. It's interesting. It's interesting. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to you guys, but what Mrs. Coleman came in here for was not an emergency. Well, it could turn into an emergency. So I've just got to have 1/10 of my mind looking down here for the rest of it. Christ is King indeed. Meemaw Judy's pretty insistent. She's the number one fan. I agree with Meemaw Judy. I'm not going to fight her. Singer and would never hold the mic that low unless maybe I was taking a break. Yeah, see? Almost like it's not real. Outwit, outlast, outtroll. This is a high IQ outfit. Yeah, the mole troll was a great op, if I do say so myself. CK appointed EK, so board isn't held accountable. I don't think that would fly legally because they do ultimately make the appointment. Granddad B, as I sit here crocheting a baby romper for my cousin, I saw the cutest baby girl romper pattern. I'd love to make it for your sweet grand if you and mom would be okay with that. If so, size, color. I don't know, baby size? I mean, little? Something smaller than would fit your humble host? You know how big a baby is. They're about that big. Color? Surprised me, Miss Jackson. Surprised me. We'll have some fun with it. Jane Bear already called number one in New Braunfels last week. Said I would fight for it. Anyone heard me? Ready? My yard of yours. We're getting violent in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Candace's subtweet to her OP for me. She got the entire video and says no mention of EK at all. Appointed to CEO. Love you, Baron. Christ is King indeed. Indeed. I may have asked her off the record not long ago if she had that video. Evil can't rationalize the thinking of good. It's not within them. Is the question off the record? Like if I'm in an off the record conversation with somebody and I ask them a question, is the question off the record too? I wouldn't think so. Well, we know the answer now. Now we know the answer. Frank and Charlie Kirk walked on the roof 9/8 because Charlie Kirk had baby monitor. Well, I don't know if that's true. Makes sense because he did live on. Oh, well, I'm not going to say. Also, like to claim number 21 from San Antonio. Go Spurs, go. Oh, the Spurs are in a big hole. I don't want to be the one to tell you, but they're down 0-2. And it's going back to New York tonight. His sleeve cuffs are very different in each video. We'll do it. We'll evaluate it tomorrow. I want to look. The principal released the video. I'm going to give her the first crack at the evaluation. I was just looking at it because it was in the tweet. But I deferred to the person breaking the story. That's her video. I'm going to give her the first crack at evaluating it. And we'll see if she has more to release mañana. I used to love watching Columbo as a kid, showing my age. I, too, loved watching Columbo. He was the one that carried the little green cigar everywhere. Was that Columbo? Thanks. Columbo. Green cigar. Was that him? Yeah. He had these green cigars. It was kind of weird. I didn't know what to make of it. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, that might be like a low budget thing. Maybe there's like a chic thing for a short period of time in the 80s or something. I don't know. I've never seen a green cigar anywhere else except in Columbo's hand. Never. I opened up X just to get a view of just to darken, because I've got X on dark mode and it just darkens the screen coming in here to me. Sorry. Columbo Owens, absolute masterclass. Agree. She just kind of sits back. But I opened X just to have a black screen so the white light isn't in my face. And I opened up to Milo commenting on the video we just watched moments ago. Oh gosh, that's hilarious. Oh my God. Yeah, and then Britta here. Candace sitting on the entire Aspen video for months and months, pretending she hasn't seen it. And you guys in our audience are okay with that. So much for transparency and letting the public see all the evidence. What a fraud. That's your take? That's your take? Not that they lied about the Young Women Leadership Summit. Charlie was always in favor of making it the Old Women's Leadership Summit. He loved Boomer Summit 2026. That was his plan. It was the theme song was going to be Cotton Tops and Blue Hairs. Dinner served at 4 p.m. at Luby's. Yeah. That was your takeaway, Britta. That was it. Yep, that was it. If you're too young to not know what Luby's is, everyone else laughed. Some koala bucks for you from Melbourne, Australia. Chess is a game of patience. Well played to our gracious queen. Christ is king indeed. Interesting. Candace, a master chess player. Indeed. I would bet their stage hands couldn't reproduce the exact positioning. Get the H to purposely match the podium position twice. Yeah. HH showcasing his master troll skills. Talk about your humble host? Yeah. The mole troll. FYI, Wickles Pickles are BOGO at Publix. Get them before Wednesday. Load up, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, question. What about the pickled okra? Because that's kind of my jam. I love Wickles Pickles, don't get me wrong. But a couple spears of Wickles Pickles okra? A little smear of Wickles relish? I got to get over to Memphis to try that sandwich at the restaurant that guy was talking about. Toasted sourdough. German mustard. Wickles Pickles. I bet it's selling like hotcakes. I remember Trump went MIA for 6 days. Media mentioned health death scare. I think he was mourning Charlie's assassination about to happen a couple weeks later. Oh. I don't know about that, but that's an interesting thought. First super from fan in number one fan in Gold Coast, Australia. AC did a wild drop on the last interview Charlie Kirk did where he said all those words. Christ is king indeed. She did. That was a great catch by her. Nissy does great work. Nissy. Look at all those phones in the air filming at that event. Surely someone else has footage. Why have we not seen any? I think you know why. I think you know exactly why. Charlie did say this, but it was this. If our children are grown up, I would like Erika to take over if something will happen to me, and she would do a great job. So after the kids were grown up, though that would be very consistent with his messaging all throughout his career. Can I be number one Auckland New Zealand? Sure, why not? Christ is king indeed. Why not from Auckland? Watch the video on our GA plans for Christian geofencing. Why isn't someone sued to stop it? It's an absurd invasion of privacy. Love this community. Christ is king forever. So many people geofence. I doubt it's illegal. Edge. Don't poke the bear on. Oh, yeah. Please. Well. Yeah, no poking. Oops, I meant the clear acrylic podium, where his water was sitting, looks noticeably different in the TPUSA video compared to the AK image. Not the video he shared yesterday. Okay, let me look here real quick. Yeah, no. So you're not talking about in the Candace video. Okay. I'll have to check that out. I spy Victor Marks in the crowd at the bang. I don't think so. If you have it, tell me where he was standing and all that, and I'll go look. But I bet you're looking at someone else that just kind of looks like him. Your Honor, for Super Chat, listening to you 2 weeks ago while driving, I not only went to wrong shopping center, but into the wrong store before realizing it. I'll allow it. That means you were tuned in. Love you and congrats, Granddad. Thank you. I've done that before where I'm just insistent and like really drilled down on something, listen to something and just go to the wrong direction. Drive like 10 minutes. You're like, where am I going? Why am I over here? On the wrong side of town. After Trump MIA, his response was not normal, somber. Well, I believe you. Baron, number one from Philly. Getting mad props, nods, shout out from big names the last couple of weeks. Well deserved, sir. We will all allow it. Well, with that come the attacks. So you take the bitter with the sweet. Emailed you. You restored my faith yesterday. I lost my dad 3 weeks before the election. I wish he had opened my last text. Congrats, Granddad. Christ is king indeed. Well, thank you for saying that. I'll try to find it. We get a lot of emails, even though I tell people I don't read my emails. We still get a lot of emails, so I don't really check them. I'll look for it because that's sentimental and touching. So thank you. In the end of yesterday's show, touched me. Then I considered the opposite side. What if she knew that was the last time she had to say goodbye and longed for the moment? Yikes. That would frankly be touching. I've seen no evidence of that. When he saw that tweet, Blake Neff was at the gym and he went to his favorite machine, the vending machine. Blakey? Yeah, so Blake texted about he was at the gym when he saw something. I was like, at the gym? I see no evidence he spends much time in the gym. But if he's new to the gym, then Blake, stick with it, brother. Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. Do constantly varied functional movements, execute at high intensity, and you will increase work capacity across broad times and modal domains. And you'll get fit. You'll get healthy. AK was projecting hard in that X post. Yeah, of course. First super listener from February. Love your work. God bless you, your team, your family, and new bundle of joy. From Central Long Island. Central Long Island. Is that your way of saying neither Queens nor the Hamptons? I'm neither redneck nor rich. I'm kind of in between. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Candace has the Aspen video. I know. I've known that for a long time. Oh, did I break that off the record thing? I mean, I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that. Really, I'm shocked. Absolutely insane that AK tries to make point against what literally mirrors exactly what TPUSA is doing with TR, but no, not the grieving widow. Yeah, precisely. Even if discussions happen, things change, so it doesn't make sense announcing publicly in case EK is unable. Like if she or loved one's health may prevent her, announcing it undermines the board. I agree with that as well. And her mother's health, frankly, is grave, I believe. I don't think she's in good shape at all. And so that's just one more thing she's got to worry about. Candace's post bit of Aspen video made my day. Same. Gas from last night needs to become an emote. Somebody, see if I can. Somebody put it on X. See if I can find it. With a, they had a nice little thing done up with it. For those that did not catch it, the rest of it. This was good. I had a good time with this. I did not mean to gasp like this, but this was fun. Grok post Harry. Oh wow, he did, didn't he? If I'm working collectively with a oh no! So that was fun. We had a little fun. Last night. Lots of gasping. This is the best channel chat I've ever been in on YouTube. Wow. Really? A lot on YouTube. I'm happy Baron exists and that you all exist. I'm happy I exist as well. I'm thriving. I'm in my prime. Lori, thank you. Half deaf with MS. Oh gosh. Sorry that you're half deaf with MS. I too am half deaf. So I can empathize with you a little bit there. But I'm sorry you got the MS. But thank you. Very kind of you. Very kind of you to say that. Baron, you really made me think back on Mother Clara Hale and Robert Clampett of Children's Express. Very similar. What can be done to protect a founder's vision and integrity after they're gone? Oh, it's nearly impossible. I don't want to say it's impossible, but nearly impossible. What you have to do is so closely, in my opinion, you have to so closely mirror the founder's vision. But if it's at all personality driven, I mean, the charity kind of is going to fall with the founder. I just don't know that it's possible to get away from that. Baron, Imagine Dragon song Machine. You'd like it. Certain AI content creators who don't dislike me because of defending flowers and sports leaders could make a video. It'd go great to the BS TPUSA video. Fiesta. Well, melanistic former Fox, now currently Burger Mama. I don't know anyone who would do that. But I'm sure somebody's capable of it. If Charlie fully believed women should stay home, why have a women's leadership summit at all? All the women speaking had big jobs and could quit to stay home, but they didn't, starting to doubt CK's authenticity. Well, that was that questioner's question. I don't know if that comment was before or after I played that, but yeah. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, that was one of the questioners had the same comment. Like, hey, every woman here, now that obviously not from this year, but from the past year, but every woman here, you're telling me to stay home and all of you have jobs. Like, that seems a little hypocritical. What was the point of the summit in the first place? What does women's leadership mean? Leadership in the kitchen? I seriously don't get it. That's a good question. I mean, and I'm not saying women shouldn't have leadership roles, but it did seem diametrically opposed to his primary talking point when it comes to women. That nearly all women would be happier at home raising kids. That was Charlie's main talking point about women. I wonder to what extent, because if you look at it, I mean, we've done deep dives into everything that's available online on TPUSA going back, the Wayback Machine. They had so many of these niche things. Like they had Jewish leadership team, Black leadership team, Hispanic leadership. They had all these little subgroups, and it's so diametrically opposed to the conservative talking point, which is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You want to be a great American? Be a great American. I don't care if you're Black. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're Hindu. I don't care, Asian. Why do we need to subdivide to have a meeting? Why can't we just meet as Americans? What difference does it make? We should all want the same thing, which is a great, prosperous, healthy, functioning society, orderly, where we come together and love on one another as neighbors. Love your neighbor as yourself. Why are we subdividing in order to have a meeting? We need higher quality men to pick from, period. Michaela, there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of truth to that. Men have a lot of responsibility that a lot of men have a lot of responsibility that they're not. Gosh, that's a big topic for a super chat, but men haven't been infantilized quite a bit. And we need to hold our men accountable. A lot. I was so pleased when I became a grandmother to choose na. You a Master P fan? Na. Oh, OMG, the day has come. I'm in my 40s, have 3 cats. Great career, but no husband or kids. LOL. I agree. It's near impossible to do both. Oh, Rita? I mean, Charlie been saying it for 15 years, 10 years. May of 1990, Indy 500, met Eddie Cheever Jr., got to sit in race car and pick taken. He was Rookie of the Year later in 98 won. And one fan of Richmond, Indiana. Well, I'll allow it. I remember Eddie Cheever. I remember Eddie Cheever got pole one year and wrecked on the warm-up lap, if I recall. Was that Eddie Cheever? Eddie Cheever wrecked warm-up? I think that was Eddie Cheever. Yeah. Oh, no, that was Roberto Guerrero who spun and crashed on the warm-up lap. 1992. Sorry, Eddie. I didn't mean to do that to you. You remember O.J. Simpson calling 911 and talking about his wife being with Roberto Guerrero? That's the same guy that crashed on the warm-up lap from pole. Last week, you gave a shout-out to my firefighter husband, Sam. You stated, why do we let Portland exist? Well, did I say that? It's because they need conservatives to help with the problems of the liberals. Christ is king indeed. Sam sounds sharp. Sam sounds sharp, but I didn't mean to say that about Portland, by the way. Beautiful town. City of Roses. City of Roses. They should focus more on teaching men to be good men so women don't have to do it on our own. Would love to be a trad wife and stay home, but that requires a real man. So I'll give my spiel. I gave it the other night. Men are like dogs. Men are like dogs. You don't require your dog to be a real dog before you pet it, you feed it, and you call it a good boy. Like, you don't require anything of your dog. You come home and you're like, oh, you're a good boy. And you pet behind the ears, and you pet behind the shoulders, and you pet right on top of the tail where the tail meets the hiney. You pet on top of the head, right under the ears. They love that spot under the ears, right there where the ears are open. Put you like that. He's such a good boy. Yeah. You don't require anything of the dog. But when you do those things, you end up with an amazing dog. The more you do it, the better your dog is. The more loyal your dog is, the more your dog loves you. Barron's comedic timing is needed when dealing with TPUSA's crap. It's AI, bad editing, or both. Yeah, I agree with you. 3 days off a year. What about Shabbat Shalom? Yeah, good question. That's a great question. It's a great question. His marriage is priority number one over his kids. Why didn't his note say it? That's also a great question. Man, you guys are tough graders. Hi, Baron. Just noting Erika's in her early 30s when they met. Love your show. Hi to Tilly from my Izzy. Christ is king indeed. Tilly has made her appearance known a few times. I've heard it in my ears. I don't know if it's above the noise gate or if you guys are hearing it or not. But now, one time I could hear her. She was at the back door. So I don't know if that made it all the way through to you guys. I heard it. That's a great point. Erika would have been 30-ish when they met. She was born in November of 88, so she'd have been 29, I think, when they met. Early 30s when they got married, certainly. Do as I say, not as I do. Christ is king indeed. I wish I hadn't put a career over having children. So glad gentlemen such as yourself speak out on this matter. Thank you from Middleton on the Sea, West Sussex fan. Hey, were you the same one that the other day was making me look up the difference between Middleton and Middleton on the Sea? If so, I learned a little geography from you. Thank you. Christ is king indeed. Indeed. You can hear how miserable tired he already was. Yeah, that Laura Ingram? Who was that? Yeah, that was Laura Ingram. No, who? Yeah, it was Laura Ingram. That interview was tough to watch because he looked miserable in that interview. But he'd also just gotten back from Korea a couple days ahead. Tweet is like the movie Labyrinth. Sarah's trying to figure out which door to use, red or blue, but one always tells the truth, the other always lies. Seems to be similar with TPUSA and Charlie Kirk's words. So when I was a kid, Labyrinth scared the crap out of me. There were all these little Muppet-looking things, and oh, man, that was a scary movie for me as like a 5-year-old. 52 Shabbats to Shalom a year, not 3. Christ is king indeed. Nerds, please do analysis on mic distance versus vocal clarity volume on all Aspen clips. Yeah, that's a good point. Or anytime he's holding that type of mic. Well, Aspen, though, with the sound of the room, sure. Hard to understand how a woman with means can contract out raising of her young children to a stranger. Then I remembered reptiles just don't have bonds with their offspring. Wow. Makes sense now. My heart breaks for the kids. I wish Charlie's folks had parental rights. Yeah. This one, Fire Baron question. Could TPUSA implosion be Charlie Kirk's dead man switch, i.e., disarm the WMD if he's gone, because that meant captured op and retooled? I don't know. That's a thinker. I'd have to think on that. I think it's only a matter of time before Charlie Kirk started looking at the quality of young men as being the problem rather than blaming feminism. Oh, he blamed them both. I just played the clips about women. just because it was the relevant portion. He talked about men quite a lot. Your number one Warsaw fan, Catholic Mama 3 here. Since Google Trends, first super chat ever. Lots of what you tackle is important for Europeans too. Christus Krolem. I'm assuming that's Polish. Thanks for the poll bucks. Appreciate it. Thank you. You're welcome. Hoping to take the place of number one fan of Little Province of Newfoundland. Some Canuck bucks for our humble host. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All the way from Canuckland. The guy was like sipping maple syrup as he was typing. He's got a whole jug of it. You know, like we drink a jug of water, like we have a thing of water. They drink maple syrup. That's the whole country. They just drink maple syrup. I had a friend in law school who drank molasses. Very weird. One of two, mega roll. So TPUSA wants us to believe the position Charlie Kirk chose to reverse course on was women's role in the workplace and not the country committing crimes, international crimes, war crimes. Yep, that's what they would have you believe. If Charlie told everyone he wanted Erika as CEO, where's the paper trail? He journaled everything. Surely he would have put that in writing somewhere. Yeah. But they would just make that up too. Becky, thank you. 2 of 2. Mega rolls back for a second bite at the apple. The first would show him to be a monster if he did so, while the second shows him to be in line with the moral character that we know him to have. Yeah. Precisely. State of common sense. Common sense is not common, unfortunately. Glad to be among the lucky few, are high IQ and have common sense. Not a lucky few. An informed few. We're not lucky. Common sense didn't just grab us without our... We could be stupid. I mean, Joe chose it. Christ is king indeed. Did you hear AK today at the minute 7:30 on Charlie Kirk show? They had 3,000 at the Women Leadership Summit. It was the biggest one they've ever had. I don't know, maybe different summits, but Charlie said 3,000. That video Candace posted. Christ is king indeed. So I have a picture of when Alex Clark got engaged, and it didn't look like 3,000 people to me. You know what I do? Maybe I can do this. I'll drop it into a, let's see if I can find it. Oh, she doesn't have it on her own page? Say I'll drop that picture into an AI and tell it to count the heads. Wait a minute. What are they doing here? What is this? Are they doing yoga? I'm not a fan. Look at this. Keep in mind, we're literally celebrating femininity, making friends, and doing Pilates. Oh, Pilates. I mean, I guess that could be 3,000 people. I'm not saying it's not. But they had a picture of her that showed the whole crowd, and she was holding up her wedding ring or her engagement ring. It didn't look like 3,000 people, but maybe. Christ is king indeed. I have no reason to doubt them on that. The T behind the head in the doctor video looks off in comparison also. We'll have to look at all this. This is all good information. Good evening, Mr. Baron, as we come up on Father's Day. Do you have any advice for those who have lost their dad this year? It's been nearly a year since my dad passed and the first Father's Day without him. No, I've never. I mean, my stepfather died a couple years ago. That was, he was very close. My father's alive. My mother's alive. Stepmother's alive. So it's not, I don't have a direct comparison, but you'll figure it out. You sound like you got a level head on your shoulders. Do Zionists need to reverse Charlie's view on women having children staying home to keep Christians from propagating? It's all about the numbers. Oh, that's an interesting position there. I hadn't considered that. One hypocritical side here. It's TPUSA, not Charlie. Keep waving those red flags and calling this unintentional machine that unfortunately Charlie created in its place. We aren't buying your BS, TPUSA. Get out of here. Well, get the blank out of here. Charlie's cuffs are different sizes in the two videos. In the TPUSA one, his cuffs touch his wrist bone. Much shorter in the video Candace posted. Also looks like he weirdly keeps his tongue rolled as he's speaking in the TPUSA video. Yeah, I noticed the tongue thing. It was like he had a little snake tongue. Like, it was weird. It was weird. 5 Membos. Be able to watch Cassia from the Daily Freddo this Friday at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. I can only imagine Erika texting Charlie constantly on dealing with the kids and wishing he was there to experience it. Okay. Hey, Baron. Baron, can't keep missing my chance to claim #1 fanhood. I know someone claimed Oregon. So can I have the greater Pacific Northwest or at least the Willamette Valley? Love you. You are the best. Well, I love you more, Rachel Zorner. I think someone claimed the Willamette, believe it or not. But you can have it. You seem nicer. You listening, Blakey? Blakey's at the gym. Excuse me. Pumping iron. Hope Candace saves this episode and finds a way to give it to Charlie Kirk's daughter when she's a teenager. Wow. No, YouTube should have it unless something terrible happens between now and then. Erika is a wolf in sparkling sheep's clothing. Can't believe that even the elect are being deceived. It's painfully obvious she's fake. Painfully. Oh, man. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Proverbs 31, verses 10 to 31 describes a wonder woman who does it all. Wife, mother, businesswoman. Her husband seems to be sitting on his hands being proud. Is this true? Admittedly, I'm not an expert on the Proverbs. But maybe I can be by the time this is over. Your humble host is digging into the Proverbs as we speak. I want to hear God mocking men. Do I have readers? This is small print tonight. And sometimes the Bible gets small print. It's like it's a variable sizing. There we go. Who can find a woman of worth? Far beyond jewels is her value. Her husband trusts her judgment. He does not lack income. I'm not reading any farther. I'm done. He's not sitting on his hands. He's a breadwinner. If TP just shut up, this whole ordeal would be over with. Nobody would prod further, and nobody else is going to be prosecuted. They're burying themselves. Yes, bad PR. We've talked about the problem. Nice idea, but many of us married with that intention, and the man turned out to be, well, something totally different. We left to make the money and raise the kids. Luckily, my divorce came before I ever had kids. Rita. I'm not going to comment on your divorce. I'm just telling you, men are like dogs. Treat them accordingly. Pet, pet, pet. Feed, feed, feed. Tell. Erika acts like raising 2 kids is a huge ordeal. Well, so here's my thought on that. We have 8 children, for those who don't know. Well, most people know. We have 8 children. 7 are still at home. 1 has moved, graduated from the home. My thought on this is kids are going to stretch you as far as humanly possible, whether you have 1 or 2 or 5 or 8 or 10. So you're always going to be stretched to the gills. So my advice to people is always have more. Like you're going to, and that was Charlie's advice too. He said, have more kids than you can afford. Because miraculously, you're able to figure it out. He even used the example in one of the clips I watched today. You go over to Africa, they have 10 kids and live in a mud hut. You can get by. You can make it. You can figure it out. So you can always, it's not a money issue for most people. But if you only have 2, I think in a way, it's somehow harder. Sometimes harder than having 6 or 8. Because you become the primary source of entertainment. You think, well, I've got to get my kids involved in everything, so you're constantly on the run. Where if you have 8 kids, you're like, I can't get you involved in everything. Pick a sport. That's what you're allowed to play. You can do one thing. He never mentions his wife in the closing answer. Maybe claiming Grand Lake, the Cherokees. There's a bigger fan here that can prove it with a higher super chat. Oh, we're having a chat off. We got a chat off challenge in Grand Lake O, the Cherokee, northeastern Oklahoma. My father died 16 years ago during a hike. My mom heard him leave and didn't get to say goodbye. She feels pain and guilt to this day. F the Fed slop. I think that's probably common among women who've had that experience. Never aspired as a kid to be a wife mom, actually despised that idea. Had specific aspirations for adult life, for career. First generation U.S., survival meant hard work since I was a kid. Now, decades later, wish could be a stay-at-home mom. Well, thanks for sharing that. 14 years of infertility. Husband and I have pursued infant adoption for 2+ years. We're now leaving our agency after learning it's tied to alleged transportation practices. Wow, we're heartbroken. Do you or anyone in this high IQ outfit have a trusted agency recommendation? I don't. I don't even know where you live. I don't know. Are these national? Are they state? Are they local? I don't know how that works. But I wish you the best of luck, and I love your heart. I mean, the heart to bring in a kid and raise it's tremendous, tremendous. If EK's in this role, there should be a prove me wrong on a college campus, and let us ask her some questions. I got bad news for you, puppy. Edge, that's a shirt I did. Don't poke the Baron with an image of a very unhinged you. That would require me to have a very unhinged moment that you could capture to put on the shirt, which you'll never see. Maybe he did tell them that. Perhaps when he did, it was before he knew he was married to a demon. Either way, he's gone and should be home. Number one fan from Nebraska. Trigger doesn't count. Trigger counts. Trigger counts. You can have part of Nebraska outside of his hometown. That's kind of my thought is he may have said it either before or in joking fashion. And they're trying to fuse it into the... I'm sad they've ruined Charlie's legacy, both TPUSA and his poor kids. Christ is king indeed. I too am sad they have. I'd like to take a moment and express my appreciation to Erika for bringing RBP to life. Love the work, B. That's a weird way to look at it, but there's a lot of truth to it. Shout out to Public Charlie. CK needs to sit. I like Public Charlie a lot. We have it all wrong. CK hated EK and made her CEO so she would discontinue and his parents would get the kids. I don't know that that's true. Just at home, playing in the curtains, watching you. Oh, my goodness gracious. Don't damage them. Curtains are expensive. But I'll allow it. Wisdom is a woman. 222. I'll allow you to play in your curtains. Have a hard time with what CK says. I have 2 daughters and financial security is important. Being able to support themselves, both happily married, but nothing promised. Divorce, especially death, can happen. It takes 2 incomes now. It doesn't take 2 incomes. I'll push back on that. So Mrs. Coleman has not worked since our oldest was born. There were years where I had a very good income, and there were a few years, particularly early on, as a young lawyer, you don't make a lot of money. And 3 years into my career, I asked her, I'd like to go out on my own, but we're going to operate at a loss for quite a while. Because even if you hit the ground running, billing is like 60 to 90 days behind collection. Usually collection is like 60 to 90 days behind billing, and billing is 30 days behind the work. So we're looking 2, 3, 4 months before you see any revenue coming in. And that's assuming it's good revenue, and may not be. And what we found was the first 2 or 3 years were exceedingly difficult. And so we moved into a small apartment with our 3 children, brought our 4th child home to that small apartment. And made it work. And, and it was interesting because my income wasn't even guaranteed because of what I was doing. Right? I mean, clients don't pay you, you don't get paid. You don't get clients for whatever reason for a few months, you don't get paid. And we made it work. And there were some very lean times where we did not go out to eat at all. We drove very old cars that were problematic at times. Our kids did not get we didn't take vacations. Our kids didn't get the great experiences maybe that some other young kids got, camps and sports leagues and all that stuff. But we made it work because she wanted to stay home and raise the kids. She wanted to homeschool them. She wanted to be there. She wanted to raise them. She didn't want them, someone else raising them. Unless you think Mrs. Coleman couldn't put up a nice income. I mean, was a licensed counselor, master's degree and all that stuff. So she's brilliant. She's very bright. Had good jobs prior to staying home with the kids. So I'll push back on that. I mean, your life, your standard of living in terms of material wealth likely would be reduced. But your quality of life, to me, is just exponentially higher when one of you can stay home. As far as death, through all that time, we had life insurance, term life insurance. Sometimes you had to go, like one time we had to ditch our 20-year term and go down to a 10-year term in order to save like $13 a month or whatever on each policy. But we had $1 million on each of us, even though I was not making very much at all for a few years while getting everything going. And then things turned around, picked up, and things got better. But there was no guarantee they would. And so I'll push back on that. I don't believe it takes two. I believe it takes two to hit a certain keeping up with the Joneses lifestyle. But I don't believe it takes two forever. And there may be times when it takes two for short periods of time. You got medical debt, you're facing bankruptcy or whatever, and you just got to do it for a short period of time or whatever. But, I heard Charlie faced with that question one time, and he said, well, if you have to have two jobs in the household, the man needs to work them both. And he just needs to get over it. So there's that too. I appreciate your perspective. I'm not knocking your perspective, but I am going to push back on that. Yet women are called to be gold diggers. If they make it apparent they want a man who has money, keep her at home. Most women have to work. Gold digger's tough. Apologies in advance if I need to adjust my contrast, but does CK's nose look sunburnt in Candace's footage and not in the TPUSA footage? I don't know. Maybe he had a cold and he was blowing his nose a lot that day. I'll allow it. Well, I'll look it up. CK burnt nose. Well, let's go to the real Candace O. Let's look one more time. Yeah, it does look kind of ruddy. Actually, now that you mention it. It does look kind of ruddy. Oh, please, I need to read this emergency text. Okay. All right. So I still gotta monitor the old text machine. Yeah, his nose does look a little red and ruddy there. And I see what you're talking about on his cuff length.
There's big concern.
And his microphone coverage. So now let's go back to a still image anyway from yesterday's broadcast. Here is a still image. The nose might be a little ruddy here. I don't know. It's just, I'll do some more investigating later, but I mean, it could be a little ruddy there. And the cuff link, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't look that different. Yeah, I'll do some more investigation and analysis later. We'll get to the bottom of this one way or the other, but the video is going to show what the video shows. But thank you. That was very generous. They honestly think that if you say something enough times, we'll turn around and believe it. MK tactics worked on them, but not going to work on us. We'll know the TPUSA people are evil, betrayed Charlie, and that makes me very sad. Let me make a point about this because people keep making this point, and I don't know that I've addressed it directly. So one of the strategies that was outlined on the Clock Tower X foreign registration filing, where they filed and said, we're now an agent of Israel. One of the things they're doing is manipulating LLM output, meaning when you go to Grok, when you go to ChatGPT, when you go to Claude and you ask it a question and it gives you an answer, a lot of times you guys have emailed me these things and I'm like, oh, it's AI slop. It's AI slop. It's not true. But what it's doing is it's scanning X and scanning Reddit and scanning these message boards and bringing in that information, and then it just regurgitates what that information said when you just ask it a quick question with a simple prompt. And they're doing that on purpose. And they're hiring these trolls and these anons to go out there and just flood the zone with all this BS in order to trick Grok into producing these outcomes. Because there are some lazy people that's how they do research. They just, so that they're saying things a lot of times that aren't true on purpose to flood the zone, to affect the outcome of these LLM, AI, whatever. Silver Point, Tennessee, down the road from Cookeville. Proud to be part of this high IQ community. Well, I don't know where Silver Point is, but I know where Cookeville is. Home of Tennessee Tech University. Clip with Laura Ingram. CK states he has a blessed career and great children, oddly versus saying a great wife. Supporter of his blessed career. Yeah. Been thinking all day about what you said yesterday about missing the chance to say goodbye. I lost my wife 10 years ago, and we spent the entire last day together, her entire last day together. One of our kids took a photo of what turned out to be our last kiss. Make time. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I'm so thankful you have that experience and had that wonderful last day, but what a tough story. Thank you. I don't know what that says. Do you think they lied about this video naming EK to preemptively shut down any claim Candace may have to the position? Why would Candace have any claim to the position? I don't understand that. Like, why are people saying, oh, Candace won her? Candace has a wildly successful podcast. Like, by some measures, number one. By almost all measures, top 10. Why would she want to be the head of TPUSA? That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. Charlie's name. Prove us wrong. I don't know what that means. In honor of the brave June 8 men. Curious how it wouldn't let me type out the name of the ship. Wanted me to edit it out. Oh, like the Liberty Bell? The first word of Liberty Bell? Following the letters USS? Hi, Baron. Number one fan from Drogheda, Ireland. Love Candace's bombshell. Never miss your show. Congrats on your granddaughter. R.I.P. Charlie. Keep going, Max. Christ is king indeed. You shoved a lot into that one message. Had to drive my mom an hour to an appointment. I put you on, and after about 15 minutes, she said, you know what he's talking about? Yes, Mom, daily listener. Thank you, B. So there's a presumption when we have a podcast, there's a presumption that you know what the hell's going on. That's hilarious. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Hey, Baron, I'll leave at 5 a.m. to a cleaning job. My son gets himself off to school. Not working is a pipe dream to me. Erika is a walking contradiction. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Thanks for the gifted membership last week from your third number one Livingston Parish fan, second number one Watson fan, small town outside of Baton Rouge. Been here since the Velcro hat days. That was a great time. Oh, speaking of, one of our insanely talented and incredible listeners sent me these collectible shoes. And they've got your humble host on them. They got some Indiana logos. Jesus loves you. A little Jesus there saying, I love you. And then on the Adidas stripes, it has sayings. This one says, Christ is king indeed. This one says, high IQ outfit. And the other shoe has all different stuff on it. The on-air logo, Buff Baron. No, that's Battle Bun Baron. Buff Baron. And then it says, don't be a Joe on this side. And on this side, it says, ho, please. Now, here's the ask. I had a stack of all the names of people who sent the different gifts, and that stack has gone missing. So if you know who sent those, let me know, because I've shown several people and they want some. And so if you are the person who did that, by all means, please. The Velcro hat day reminded me of that, because somebody sent me a hat with a marker on it that I could write on. But yeah, let me know if you're the shoe lady or the shoe man. Dear Baron, thanks to the principal for allowing me to catch a live. I'm your number one fan from Effingham, Illinois. Congrats on the grandbaby. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Ordered 2 t-shirts yesterday. I'm getting quite a collection of Baron merch. Thanks for increasing my IQ through your show. Christ is king indeed. It's high quality merch. Thank you. Beer, you're still going to be see about interviewing George, Candace's husband. That would be great. Yeah, I am. I need to ask. Just need to man up and ask. I hate asking. Edge. Sadly, 50% of marriages fail and women families aren't supported. I have many examples in this culture. It's almost irresponsible for a woman not to work. Current economic climate only feeds in. So I'll push back on that too. I understand why you guys are saying all this. I don't want to have the whole show about it. Those were Charlie's positions, not mine. But I want to say this. I don't think it's irresponsible for women not to work, to stay home. Mrs. Coleman stays home. I don't think that's irresponsible. As the 50% of marriages fail, that's also a misnomer. 50% of the number of marriages in 1 year, 50% is the divorce rate in a given year. But the vast majority of marriages don't fail. There are a lot of people who get married multiple times, and that runs that divorce number up. So if you take first marriages, it's not 50%, not 50% at all. Did you see that Buckley Carlson tagged you on X yesterday? You will be across from Tucker soon. I like Buckley Carlson a lot. Can I say that? I think he's hilarious. He's smart. He's funny. A high IQ guy. Don't be jinxing the Tucker thing. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. I won't be disappointed. I love what I do, but that would be fun. It'd be fun to meet him. Central Louisiana. Rapides Parish. If you'll allow, I will. Congrats on being granddad. Soon to be a first-time Mimi myself. New chapter in life. Yeah, indeed. Carnivore mama. Don't eat the baby. Don't be that kind of carnivore. Second super chat of the night. We don't need a George Bush scenario here. Second super chat of the night. Just need to say the way you structure your show, the way you structure your arguments is genius. I'm glad somebody sees it. It's thorough, it's crisp, and it's digestible. You've given TR's team the answers to the test. Thank you for all you do. I hope they watched podcasts. There's a few podcasts they need to have seen. Says the man that married a 31-year-old career woman. Maybe he was a hypocrite. No, she wasn't a career woman. That's the hypocritical part, is they pretended she was. She wasn't. She was the head of a charity that never made any money. Never raised or spent over $50,000. Or they didn't file their taxes, one or the other. That's her job. And then that's not a job. Not a job. Can we explore why TPUSA wants her in a CEO position? I suspect her connection to the big money donors. Yeah, probably. Yes, it's named after FDR. Delano, Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen. Named after the only person to be elected 4 times to the presidency. Number one in Hong Kong. We're here to welcome our first grandchild. Her name is Matilda, aka Tilly. My Tilly's pretty cute. So it's going to be a tough contest. Keep hope alive. Christ is king indeed. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you, big horn shaver. If he said he meant she should be the owner, collect the checks, be the face on the letterhead, not travel and be the Charlie. That's idiotic. If he said it. Yeah, maybe. Figurehead, you mean? Unfortunately, I don't believe Charlie Kirk was a great person. Fathers are just as important as moms, yet he was never around. He didn't need to be gone as much as he chose to be. How sad for the kids. Eek. Them's fighting words. That's tough. Charlie only took 3 days off a year. How did he observe the Shabbat? Maybe he meant except for the Shabbat. So he had 55 days off a year. Did you wear lavender in celebration of Aspen? You nearly killed me with that. Christina? You nearly killed your humble host with that. Did you wear lavender in celebration of Alex Clark's engagement? If so, I like you impossibly more now. I'm not saying anything about the guy. I have not said a word about it. I did play the video, but it's a video he made. A video he made. Lavender hoodie belongs to Alex Clark today. Boise Jet guy. Baron, can you please show everyone your reaction to Gary's mess up in case they missed it last night? Also, can we turn that into merch? Maybe we can turn that into merch, but yeah, I don't want us to dwell on Gary. Let Gary be. He's had a tough go at it. Fan Coleman River Valley, St. Albans, West Virginia. Christ is King. Love you. I love you more, Skate Betty. Oh, Skate Betty. Man, Malambo. Oh, Skate Betty. Mr. Wachuca. I don't have anything else to say, but God bless you and thank you for everything you do, Baron. Just letting you know you have a loyal fan in Carrollton, Texas. Duly noted. You have a loyal fan in Middle Tennessee. Erika even admitted that Charlie was in charge of handling finances, so she wouldn't have to be stressed with that. Oh. Mr. B, my B, your gasps are priceless. Makes me laugh every time. Well, I just react. Trigger Smart. Trigger Smart's got a great podcast. Great show, Baron. Everyone hit that like. Check out my live replay from today afterwards if you want to do a deep dive on the alleged AI video as well as other TPUSA AI issues. Ooh, other TPUSA AI issues. We'll put that in my queue. I like Trigger Smart. Very high quality content each and every time he fires up the camera. Charlie Kirk said marriage is covenantal and kids are an extension of that. On the list that EK found on his desk, his kids were on it and she was not. Well, they were going to sign paperwork 5 days later. Decided after 30 years, I'm 43, to go back to the Catholic Church. Priest met me Saturday for 1.5 hour talk through all things and best convo ever. Back to Mass and confession Thursday. Thank you and Candace for supporting this homecoming for me. Danny, that is such good news. We had somebody earlier write in to say they were baptized recently. And then yesterday, I think somebody wrote in to say they'd gone to church for the first time ever in their life. Victories, guys, victories. And when you have victories like this, the demonic realm is not going to be happy. Not going to be happy. So they're going to try to attack the platform, attack the show, attack the humble host, attack the viewers. And now you're going to be under attack. So be strong, be strong. But yes, I'm excited for you. I'm excited. I think I'm high IQ. I'll be the judge of that. If CK said the organization is vision-led instead of founder-led, why is his name still on the show? Let him RIP and stop ruining his name already. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, that's probably the biggest shame is that they've taken he at one time had the #1 rated podcast in America. And they now have run it down to where like they'll have 100 people on live. Which, I mean, there was been a time when I started that I would have loved to have 100 people live. But I also was never the #1 podcast in America. Yet. No. Is there a contradiction between Candace's announcement on why she wasn't going live today and her ex-post? Don't yell at me. I'm not a Joe. I don't think so. I'm not yelling at you. I don't think so. What do you disagree with regarding Charlie's foreign policy? Maybe make an episode to present your case so we can have an open conversation, as Charlie Kirk said. I don't need a whole episode. I'll tell you in one sentence. He spent about 4 years insanely pro-Zionist. I never was. So we would disagreed on that. Well, the last couple of years, he sort of came around closer to my position. But there for a while, man, you could not get a playing card sideways between him and the our greatest ally. So that I don't need a whole show for that. Loyal listener, but rarely comment due to timing. Well, that's okay. From one Catholic Gen Xer to another, thank you for your high IQ program. My 12-year-old daughter and I look forward to every show. From Clovis, Central California. Asis Christus, Oro Pro Nobis. Yeah, pray for us. But yeah, it's okay. You comment when you can. But thank you for listening. And tell your 12-year-old I said howdy. What happened to Roll that beautiful bean footage was a prominent commenter at one time, and TPUSA is wrecking their own train. He checked in the other day for the first time within the last week, and he'd been, I don't know, maybe he's dealing with some stuff. Maybe his timing, maybe he's working a different shift. I don't know. BC, F for something happens to you. Oh, if something happens to you, who do you want to take over your show? Well, the last time somebody allegedly had that asked, they were dead a month later, so let's not ask that question. How about that? Not ask that. But if someone takes it over, change the name. Change the name. Take the credit if you succeed, and if you fail, I don't want any of the blame. I don't want my name associated with it. Hey, Bear and Charlie didn't have to worry about Erika's safety because if you remember on the CO interview, Marks told EK that she was safe. They only wanted Charlie. That was weird. No, that was weird. That was weird. But Bear, on at the same conference, Erika incorrectly corrected Charlie regarding plus 30 women's chances of getting married. Charlie was visibly irritated. We'll clean it up. I'll have to check that out. I don't recall that. I haven't watched the whole interview, admittedly, not that one. I don't think. Was that the one where she was in the green dress? Because I do remember him saying something now that you mention it. But I might be thinking of something else. Light and Love from Norway. Thank you. Light and Love from Middle Tennessee. Daisy is disagreeing with one of my recommendations privately. I'm 35 next month, and my ex-husband left me before we had kids, so this was a tough listen. Still holding out. Hope I meet my husband. All in God's hands. Thanks for all you do, Baron. I'll pray for you. I hope others will join me in praying for you to find the Mr. Right. Mr. Right. And I'm sorry to hear about your story there. The number one fan, Smithfield, Rhode Island. Husband and I got married in Key Largo 13 years ago. Keep going, Max, as usual. 13 years ago? Got married in Key Largo. Like, there's no beach. So where'd you get married? Just in the side of the road? No, and I don't think there's a beach unless they've added one, unless they've made one. There's a little beach area near near that little area where they filmed the movie Key Largo. There's like they created a little beach there, but there's no natural beach in Key Largo. Number one fan from Long Island, New York. I don't love it. You can always move. I don't know. Maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. Hey, Bear, I just wanted to let you know if you need to go forward or backwards on a YouTube video, you can click J to go back 10 seconds or L to go forward 10 seconds. Is this true? Duly noted. Thank you. Duly noted. I'm seeing y'all. Erika's the type of evil that causes future generations to abandon the name. Monsters, a lot of them. You guys are tough graders. Correction, Delano is named for Warren Delano Jr. However, he was the maternal grandfather, the Morfar, if you will, the Morfar of FDR, established 1882. Well, close enough, close enough. Warren Delano Jr., the Morfar. The Morfar. Need to find your hoodie collection. They look so comfortable, but I can't find anything like it on the website. Please help a young African get some swag. Love the work you do. I'm going to show you the secret. Last time I showed you people the secret and I needed a replacement for one of my hoodies. I actually need another replacement right now for one of them that I spilled something on. But you go to Amazon and you type in Adidas Essentials hoodies. Adidas Essentials hoodies. And you click on it, and you will see an amazing array of Adidas Essentials hoodies. They've got a black one right now, depending on your size. They've got a black one for $33. The bean paste hoodie, right now, $40. I should show you guys this. Show you. I don't think there's anything crazy I don't want you to see on here. So yeah, you just go to Adidas Essentials. That's what it's called, the Adidas Essentials hoodie. And you get all these different colors. Oh, that's the classic right there, the gray. They range in price, so be careful which one you pick. Because some of them get pretty salty. Like that's $75. That's like a limited edition there. I have that hoodie. And that's mine right there. What's the color say? What's that called? Blue Spark. I told you it's electric blue or something. Blue Spark. But it's a Adidas Men's Essentials Fleece hoodie. Some of them are pretty salty in price now, but some of them are pretty reasonable. Some of them are pretty reasonable. It's the greatest hoodie I've ever worn. I'll be honest with you. Like that's why I own so many of them. A very comfortable hoodie. Some of the colors are a little softer than others, but they're all cut the exact same way. And they just fit. Like I want something that hits me right correctly on the shoulder. And this one hits perfect. What are people who invaded Turning Point have a connection to the Project Veritas invasion? You know what's funny about that, Aaron Parker? I thought about that today. Feels like the same script, except they didn't off James O'Keefe. I just bought #1 fan shirt. Oh, Christ is King indeed. You'll love it. I thought about that today, and it was in the context of putting that opening together. So here's how I do the openings. I have a whole bunch of like, some of them 10% written, some of them half written openings. Some of them are just like a title with some bullet points. And some of them are like, I've got an opening and a closing, and maybe I've got some bullet points in the middle, like add some beef here. But yeah, and so while I was touching up the opening for today, I thought, man, I should have done this on Project Veritas because they are circling the drain. And that's exactly right. They got rid of James O'Keefe because he was too powerful, frankly. Too powerful. They were trying to derail him. Off topic, have your daughter read Mary Tally Bowden book on vaccines? Oh, have your daughter. 6 grandchildren on the autism spectrum. We don't want your sweet grandbaby to get hurt. We don't need any books. We don't need any books. We're weird enough already. Trust me. I don't want to put too much out there, but we're very weird people. #1 fan, Garden City, Kansas. Just found out clean energy data center to be built nearby in critical habitat for lesser prairie chicken. I'm doing eco surveys to take to local officials. Please pray. Christ is King indeed. The lesser prairie chicken. I've never seen one of those. About to see what a lesser prairie chicken looks like. How do you spell prairie chicken? Oh, yeah, that's a cute little bugger. Look at that thing. Who want to build a data center on top of one of those? It looks like a cartoon in real life. Look at these. I got to show you guys these things. What a cute little booger. The lesser prairie chicken. Look at that thing. Thing's wild looking. It's like, meep, meep. Meep, meep. Yeah, save the lesser prairie chicken, people. Opening statement, Jim Garrison, baby nod to the CO. Jim Garrison over time. Okay, because he was the investigator who really looked into JFK. I've got you. Talking about an X from the Soup Troll. And Candace, while you've been on, Candace is a fraud as she lied about not having the video. Yeah. She didn't lie about not having it. She just begged them to release it. What a weird spot they have found themselves in. I've been warning you guys. Just trust Candace. Used to help on a podcast in 2020. We live streamed the sites and proved George F. was brought to Minnesota from Texas by TPUSA, requested by Antifa AG Ellison. What? George Floyd? Brought to Minnesota from Texas by TPUSA? Is that true? I'm going to have to make a note of that to look it up. Minnesota. That's how you say it. It's in Minnesotan. It's a particular language, peculiar language. I'll have to look that up because I have a hard time believing that. How's that for receipts? Go Max. Yeah, well, pork tacos for dinner. They were great. That's all. Those sound good. Those sound really good. Why the second investor summit in fall of 25? Was that because the Jewish donors had pulled out, and Charlie was determined to find funding from far from our greatest ally. No, I think some of them were there. I think some of them were there. I think the reason peeps at TP have different stories of the events is because they want their storyline to be the one that sticks, a game to them. Heart hurts for Charlie Kirk. Thank you. From Wellsville, Kansas. Lots of wells in Wellsville. From Seoul, South Korea. Oh, that's a beautiful place. At some point, Candace recalled Erika saying, I knew it when she learned what happened. It's never referred to, but I have marinated on it. What a bizarre response. Let's talk about it. I'd have to go back and find that because I don't recall her saying that. I don't doubt you, but anyone claim Kansas yet? If not, I nominate me. Now I know what they eat in Kansas. I never knew where Mr. Khan was from, but now I get a daily Kansas update of what was for dinner. Either CK didn't know doo-doo about dating, or is this is a U.S. thing? If yes, let those poor 35-year-old ladies come to Europe. They will get the hell dated out of them. Well, probably. Utica, Illinois. Tonight's show is fire. First time Super Chat, Christ is King indeed, and now the number one fan. Don't forget your name drop from Blakey to Bucky this past weekend. They love you. Keep going, Max, humble host. Did Blake talk about me this week? Blake Sneff? What did he say? What did he say? I don't know if I want to see it. Oh my gosh. Trump, they got a video here of Trump arriving at Madison Square Garden. It's chaos. Why is he going to the game? That's weird. Keep going, Max, humble host. Yeah, I'll have to look that up about Blake. I didn't know he said anything. Baron, you need a flip counter like Candace's to count the days of Erika failing to provide an alibi for Fort Huachuca sighting. We're getting close to 180 days since Candace interviewed Mitch. Yeah, we are. That was in December. It's now June. Very close. Baron, for the jury, can you please read aloud Candace's reply to her own tweet with the video clip? Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, my neck hurts. What did I do? Did I hunt too long or something? Let's see here. We got to go to real Candace Owens. Oh my God. Yeah, let's play this one on the big screen. So there is her tweet. Alex Clark says this. And she said, since Timu Alex Cooper is all about the pursuit of truth, and her budget COO accomplice, Marina Minas, is backing her lies up, surely they won't mind me putting up Charlie's entire 3-hour Aspen video on my website tomorrow. You won't threaten a lawsuit, right? Wouldn't it be good for the world to hear Charlie in his own words for hours saying what he wanted for the organization so we don't have to further suffer this bootlegged, failing, effeminate knockoff relic which seeks to lie about literally everything he desired for no reason? Let the world hear Charlie Kirk in his own words. Personally, I found it weird how he only mentions Erika as being involved in the faith division. The most observably corrupt and ironically soulless division of the entire organization. We have insight as to what it says. Oddly, there was no mention of her capability to run an entire organization or even a remote shout out of her as a member of the executive team. But what you say, girl bosses, let's just drop the entire video and let the world settle the score. Candace, my principal. But since we're here, we might as well read this one too, right? Alex Clark is the company's chihuahua. She is the chihuahua who publicly took credit for getting Trump to tweet insults about how I looked back when I was sick over 10 years ago. She's now set to get married. May she and Vance live happily ever after. Oh, is there audio?
Hello, I'm Vance Voelberg, and I was the instructor of the beginning fiddle class, so I'm going to play you some tunes I taught. This first one is called Tennessee Waltz.
Well, I, for one, am excited about the 3-hour video drop tomorrow. I know what I'll be doing. I can't wait. I hope she drops it early. Like, I got a show to prepare for. Oh, I don't. It's Tuesday. I'm off tomorrow. I could watch it on 0.5 speed. Make it 6 hours just to let the burn settle in a little bit. Oh, my goodness. That was quite the tweet. And I'm not talking about the video one. I'm talking about the Timu Alex Clark. Oh, my gosh. Outrage that Candace said on footage is too ignorant to even respond. Good thing they're not investigators for a living. Love you. What's my name, B? Okay. Did you email this to me or tag me on X? I saw this. Oh gosh, I saw this just the other day. I saw it. No, it was in a comment on the YouTube. Oh gosh. Can't remember. Oh gosh, you said you wanted to hear me say it. Let's see if I can. No. Oh. No. Oh no. I think it was right now at the end. What is the... Oh gosh, I feel so bad right now. Send it to me again. Send it to me again. I do remember getting your comment, text, email, whatever it was. I've been watching since October. Thanks. Oh, thanks, Renee. Thanks. TPUSA Women's Conference 2027. Sponsored by Piccadilly's Cafeteria, Fixident, Depends, Blue Star Ointment, and Life Alert. Piccadilly's. Oh gosh. That's really funny. That's really funny. EK didn't want the family life. She's a chameleon, a poisonous one. Yeah, well. Gracias. I think Tucker has a non-disparagement agreement with 1789 Capital investors, including Junior. He bought out of his network before going max. If I'm right, and Junior and Tucker face off for the White House in 2028 primary, would Tucker still have to be CK silent? I don't know. I mean, he had Jimmy Dore on and let Jimmy Dore go. I don't know. Thank you, Pamela. When I lived in Miami, I often had to go to Key West for work and loved the fish house in Key Largo. I loved the fish house. Loved the fish house. Gosh, it's such good eats. Such good eats. By the way, wow. You're a great workmate to drive him all the way to North Miami Beach. Yeah, Christ is King. Yeah, it was like an hour. I did not realize that when we got in the car. Did not realize that at all. But the fish house was phenomenal. Golly. They had a Matacumbe style fish that was... This place, and I'm not kidding. You know where they cooked the fish? The fish was swimming an hour ago. And people would catch it and bring it in, and they would slice it up and cook it. It was crazy, crazy. Baron, New York has lots of hills, trees, and birds. New York City is not New York. Oh, Adirondacks, Finger Lakes, Hudson Valley are beautiful. You're a number one fan in Syracuse. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Katoomba, Australia. Katoomba sounds like an Australian word. I don't know why. Haven't missed an episode since September last year. Congratulations on becoming a grandfather. Christ is King, and Jesus definitely loves us. He does indeed. He does indeed. Assuming Tucker's silence is because he knows things he can't say and has to get his son out of admin if ever breaking silence. Oh. Got my whole please mug. Love it, but no t-shirt. Do they ship separately? They do, actually. I had 4 things come this week, and they arrived on 3 different days. But yeah. Baron, I've watched your show every day since October, but I'm rarely able to catch a live. Pumped to be part of the BC community this evening. Keep going, Max. Jesus Christ is King. Amber, I'm glad you were able to join live. Also, as a Russian, waiting anxiously for Candace to go live. Hope she did not fall for our state propaganda, which is easy for the foreigners without Russia context. But we'll find out. We'll find out. Regarding alien theory, have you seen Spielberg is saying new movie will have Christians questioning their faith? You hit that nail on the head. Yeah, I told you. Christ is king indeed. Don't lose your faith over aliens. Don't lose your faith over aliens. Edge, thoughts on planes owned by Miriam Adelson. Legit? Is that a topic for later? I have not yet had a chance to dig into that. I anticipate I'll do that tomorrow during my day off. But I had to prep for today's show, and I had a lot of phone calls this morning. A lot of very important phone calls this morning. A lot going on behind the scenes. So yeah, it is. Potentially. I gotta see if it checks out. Ordered my first merch, number one fan of the man from Tennessee. My husband is a musician and loves playing that song. He's a Texan, so it's okay. Great episode. If you'll notice, there's a slight word change. Instead of from, it's in. To get around copyright issues. Number one fan watching from England. Your show is epic. Epic, says Rachel. Epic. Anyone else in the jury noticed their local Mason Lodge has removed a statue of a Shriner holding a child in the area? It was removed from the one in central Kentucky about the time it became controversial. Thought it was weird. I didn't even heard about it. Didn't know it was controversial. Blank spot on your walls need to be a pic of Charlie. We've talked about that. Don't Barron and drive. It's not safe. Barron responsibly. Always Barron responsibly. Be safe. Be safe. To abandon newly father-orphaned children accustomed to a fully present mother is tantamount to active child abuse and flat-out cruel. Well, I keep forgetting. That was a Michael McDonald song. Keep forgetting, not in love. I keep forgetting to thank you for the intro to Wickles. Got first jar 2 weeks ago and also got the okra. The okra's dynamite, isn't it? And thanks to Donna Turner for Tejas comment. Indian word, not Spanish. Well, I'll allow it. But the okra's dynamite, isn't it? The Wickles are amazing. Like, Wickles is one of the greatest things ever made. Off topic, Penny, for your thoughts. Oh, Intel on Phil Con HH of this high IQ outfit. Please opine on Antifa's designation as a domestic and international terror organization. I don't really have an opinion. I wish I did. I'd love to opine. All this back and forth between podcasters is wearing thin. Just want to know who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why. Don't forget those two. Hope you uncover more in your investigation. Good luck. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I'm moving past it. That's why I've kind of ignored the comments today that have mentioned it. And I'm kind of ready to move past it. But you can't marry a man who doesn't prove himself to be a good one first. Too much of a risk for yourself and potential kids. Well, I mean, don't marry a dirtbag. No one's suggesting that. Well played, Candace. Indeed, indeed. Y'all talk about men are like dogs is making me reconsider a guy from my church. Thanks, G. Paul. Wow. I hope that's a good thing. I hope I just ruined his chances. I hope that means you're going to feed him and pet him and call him a good boy. Baron the Great Gasp B. Love the gasps and looks. Well, like I said, I just do me. I just be me. Love Key Largo. We stayed at Playa Largo. Beautiful resort. Glad I came across you. I'm fixing to purchase a hoodie from Waycross, Georgia. I know about Waycross, Georgia. You know why it's named that? It's way across Georgia. On the other side of Georgia. Waycross, Georgia. Highly recommend going to Bora Bora. The real world seems so far away. Kristen, Critter? I don't even know where Bora Bora is. That's how not rich I am. Bora Bora. Oh, it's in French Polynesia. That's one of my outs if I ever have to leave the country in a short notice. Non-extradition territory. Non-extradition territory. Not that I would need such a thing. But you never know, you never know. Bora Bora. Wonder why they named it twice. So good it had to name it a second time. As a not boomer con. As Candace insulted me and you quite literally laughed your hiney off. It's getting old, my B. My B? I'm way ahead of my kids, 46, 42 on current events. It's low IQ to categorize, but respect you. Well, I mean, no, I wasn't knocking boomers in that. What I was saying was they're now like having to go after boomers because no college kids want anything to do with them. TPUSA was founded to reach college kids, 18 to 22 years old, typically. 23, 24. I mean, I know like in Utah, a lot of them are a couple years older because they do their mission ahead of time. You got kids that take a gap year for whatever reason. But early 20s to teens to early 20s was kind of the bread and butter. And then for years, that's where they thrived. That's who they reached. That's who showed up at their events. You went to an Amfest, it was wall to wall young kids. You went to the outdoor Charlie Kirk events, it was wall to wall young kids. And now if you look at their events, it's like, they got a spot to put your walkers when you get in there. I'm not making fun of boomers. I'm just saying that's not their target audience. Or it had not traditionally been. Married, then ex got abusive. Son diagnosed with ASD. I got sick a year later. Ex stole daughter and left the two broken people to fend for themselves. Now 43 and disabled men in society see zero value in me. Christ is king indeed. Well, that's horrific. I'm terribly sorry for you. Not all men are that way. Perfect episode to bring up your book rep from an early episode, His Needs, Her Needs. This book helped my marriage tremendously. You're helping so many people. I hope you know that. Thank you for all you do. That's a great comment there. And that book really kind of helped save my marriage in a dark spot. His Needs, Her Needs was phenomenal. And it's some traditional advice. Modern feminist women are probably not going to love it. Modern infantilized men are probably not going to love it because there's a lot of responsibility put on the man and a lot of responsibility put on the woman. But marriage is hard work, and it takes two to make it work. And if both are willing to put in the work, you can have a thriving, flourishing marriage. And that's the point of the book. And it's phenomenal. If you're having trouble in your marriage, His Needs, Her Needs is great, but you both got to read it. Well, one of you could read it. I mean, you could always better yourself, but it's really effective if both of you read it. Tis me from North Middleton on the Sea. Glad helped with geography. Also the one who worked in China, EU, and Wall Street. Nay, basketball players for me. Whew. Good. Apparently it makes you make weird eyes. My B. Someone made a meme of you on X. The gasp heard around the world. I was looking for that. It was hilarious. Thank you for all you do. We need a good laugh. I will keep praying. Yeah, I was looking for it. Did I send it to somebody? Oh, yeah, here it is. Look at that. The gasp heard around the world. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on it, but that's it. The gasp heard around the world. Yeah. I didn't even intend to do that. Keep praying. Recent Victor UVU pics. The guy was clearly undercover. I doubt it's the same one others have mentioned. Look at the face and arms. I'm telling you. You're telling me? You're telling me? Face and arms? I don't know what Victor's arms look like. That's creepy. Look at men's arms. No, that's not Victor. That's not even close to Victor. That's a fat guy with a beard. If it is, I'll just tip my cap to him and say you pulled it off because you look nothing like him. But thank you. But Beryl, my goodness, your delivery of tonight's show is a true masterpiece. Thank you for all you do. I felt so many amazing emotions and recalled childhood memories since you became a granddad. Love you. I love you too, Energy Architect, and thank you for the kind words. Thank you. I know it's controversial, but any thoughts, opinions on Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf trial? Yeah. When you go looking for trouble, bad things happen. And I think they were both looking for trouble. If I'm recalling the story correctly. I might not be, but I might be thinking of another trial. Hold on. Well, before I stick my foot in my mouth, let me go back and look and make sure I'm talking about the same trial. Altercation started when track and field championship event. Hunter Metcalf told Anthony to move out of the Memorial team's tent. Austin then confronted Anthony. During the argument that ensued, Anthony allegedly said, "Touch me and see what happens," while reaching into his backpack. Metcalf then pushed Anthony on the bleachers they were on. In response, he later allegedly said, "Punch me and see what happens," to what Metcalf pushed him. Yeah, so that's why I don't like violence. Like when you find yourself in a violent situation, man, anything can happen. So don't don't go looking for violence. I think they both, in a way, may have been. Again, this is a very cursory reading. I may have the facts all wrong, but I don't think I would be confronting people and pushing people, and I just not really my style. But Baron, today is my husband Richard's birthday, and his birthday wish is for you to put your iconic gasp face on all your merch. All my merch? I don't think I'm going to do that. We might roll out a T-shirt or something. Shabbat shalom. Daddy's not home. Well, three nights a year he was. I apologize. Unrelated. We lost a COVID warrior today. Attorney Warner Mendenhall, part of the team that took the first wrongful death case to jury trial last June. He passed this morning. Christ is king indeed. Sorry to hear that. I didn't even potty train my oldest because I worked and he went to daycare. Staying home, homeschooling is so fulfilling. I hate feminism and hate that so many moms want to stay home but can't. Yeah, I'm glad you're able to. One of two. Charlie Kirk mentioned changing YWLS to WLS in 21. Had next 4 to 5 summits to do so and never did. Not unreasonable to conclude he had a reason for this. When he says shoe CEO, I can't help but think about the self-proclaimed sneakerhead. Oh, wow. What a connect, Hannah Doodle. Man, you put those together. I think you might be onto something. 2 of 2. Seems like 2.0 had no other choice but to change it because they didn't listen to what Charlie Kirk kept trying to get through to our GA and GA supporters towards the end. Talking about our greatest ally? Yeah. Baron, it's my 66th birthday today. Was delighted to wake and hear about Candace and her young women's leadership video footage by your humble host, Game Changer. Love this high IQ outfit. Well, I can't wait to watch it. You know how hard it is to not say things sometimes? I asked her about that video a long time ago. Months ago. I would very much buy a Buckle Up for Baron shirt if that existed. Love the show. The problem is it's Buckle Up for Baron. I thought Charlie Kirk appointed EK at the donors Aspen event, not the Young Women's Leadership event. Yeah, that's correct. The video she has is the Aspen event. That's the one she posted. Real men aren't at the bars, clubs anymore. We just need the women to come outside once in a while. AB, great opening regarding, I don't want to talk about that. You're maybe going to spend, no, I'm not going to do that. Christ is king forever. Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm just tired of the back and forth. I just want to be done with it. Claiming #1 fan in Moreno Valley, California. Aludo. Christ is king indeed. Ayudo. Is that Spanish? I don't know what that is. To refer to? Oh, no. Yeah, I don't think I don't know what that is. Apologize for being behind on the #1 fan wave. I took off last week to go to PCB. I'm back at work this week catching up on my humble host. PCB meaning Panama City Beach, not polychlorinated biphenyls or whatever it's pronounced. But did they call Hilda? Yeah. I forgot about that. Did someone call Hilda? Yeah. Sir, you the bomb. Love your show. Regarding Mike, could be low Mike B when he wasn't talking, but they dubbed it over, not thinking about that. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I was telling you, holding a SM58 style mic down there is pretty ineffective way of using it. Even with all these horrible PR disasters, are really just an intentional, all these PR disasters are just an intentional way of driving TPUSA company to the ground? No. These people are not stupid that are on the other end of this. Why would you think that? I mean, all evidence to the contrary. Statistically, couples who have 4 or more kids within 2 years of each other rarely ever divorce or otherwise break up. There's a noticeable jump in couples staying together between 3 and 4 kids. Oh, really? Really? What about 8? LOL. I always love my dogs and they always love me. I will try your method, pet. pet, scratch, good boy. Yes. Feed, pet, good boy. It's tried and true. Sometimes the dog likes to stray. No amount of petting keeps him home. Thankful I had a good education and career in order to raise 3 kids alone. Sorry, Granny Man. Can I give you a quick comment on what's happening in Great Britain? Henry Nowak and Open Borders. I believe you. EK tradwife feminine clothing at that conference compared to black leather and lace after death was like a rebranding of herself. It's crazy. Yeah. That reminded me of that song Leather and Lace with Stevie Nicks and who's the man in that song? Give me your leather, take from me my lace. Oh, the guy from the Eagles. Is it Glenn Fry? It's a great song. Baron the Joe moment was an unhinged moment. Okay, admitted, Lisa. Granted. That there were parts of it that were unhinged. The early part, early Joe. Late Joe was hilarious. Early Joe was a little scary, if I'm being honest. When I go back and watch it, I'm like, hope it gets better. It's like you've watched a movie, but you're still scared. I'm Team Baron and Candace, but is it possible that Charlie appointed EK not because he wanted her to work, but because he didn't trust the others? Not EK, his children would lose his life's work. I don't know. Just wondering your thoughts on these ticks. It's a lot of ticks, Baby J. I don't know. I don't really have thoughts, but there are a lot of ticks, and that alpha-gal syndrome seems to be rising. Although I have considered that the alpha-gal syndrome is coming from the C19 poke, if you know what I'm talking about. Married couples should not be afraid of having a lot of kids. There's an economy of size. The older kids help raise and look after the younger siblings. Dad was 12th of 13. I was 4 of 6. Sparky, that's what I meant by that. Like, it's harder to raise 2 than 8, I think. Just noticed that in the interview that day before, he said, I have amazing children, and then spoke about himself. I would have thought, and an amazing wife to follow if their marriage was actually okay. I don't think it was. Baron and chat asking for prayers. Lost a step-parent and cousin since yesterday. Stream both to rapid cancer. One diagnosed several weeks ago, the other days ago. My mother told me of her cancer just a few hours ago. What? You need to check your well or your water, city's water. That's crazy. That's crazy. Live on a golf course? I heard cancer's higher on golf. I don't know if that's true or not. I just heard that the other day. That is awful. I am so sorry. I will absolutely pray for you, Celtic warrior poet. Baron, where can we find good conservative men? I don't know. I'm not a matchmaker. I mean, church. I'm not a matchmaker. I don't know. Friendly PSA, putting Venmo handle up can be scary. Scammers copy your name and pick to make fake accounts to trick your viewers. Happened to me. Yeah, I noticed there was another Baron Coleman up there. Make sure it's no numbers or anything. And you don't have to send it. But I just put it up there because it has the handy dandy merch link in it. And I put all that up there at once. I think I found another post on auto admit from Blake Neff under a different username. It's long. We'll send an email. Subject line, hold please, Blake. Well, that would be interesting. Where's Charlie's wedding ring? Have we ever figured that out? It wasn't on his hand in that creepy video Eric flaunted of herself with him in the casket. Love your show, Baron. Yesterday was fire. No, and I've asked a lot of people about that wedding ring. And I think Candace has as well. And I don't know that anybody ever heard another word about it after that. And that's it's telling to me because it fell off his hand and you think it fell right to the ground, right where he was. Someone picked it up, right? I mean, Shirley? Stop calling me Shirley. YWLS 2025, 3,000 attendees. 2026, 300 to 400 max. TPUSA calls it a win with a 90% decrease in attendance. Oh, I think it was more than 300 or 400. I saw a picture. It was, I could believe it was 3,000. I mean, it was a lot of people in there. It was way more than 300 or 400. Edge, I have several unhinged picks, but can't attach. RN Casey can find one. Start with last night. Oh, Edge, we don't need unhinged picks of your humble host. I mean, come on. Let's not get carried away. Barbar the Farfar. Methinks TK strategically used Summit to address targeted group to consider kids' family and also open minds of faith, religion, etc. Great show as always. Christ is king indeed. I bet Blakey's Google reviews on Chinese restaurants are fire. Yeah. I can only imagine the mega shrews he talks about. Not bad, except for the lady checking you out at the cash register. Female vet here. Wife making and wearing husband's metal ring as ring smells of stolen valor. It wasn't a military ring. He wasn't in the military. Maybe, I don't know. Please look into the carnivore or ketovore diet for your healing. Food is real medicine. Christ is king indeed. I've heard great things about people who go carnivore for a while, like butter and meat only. I might try that. I tried it. I only made it like a day or two. And I don't eat a lot of carbs. Few. Married early, had kids early. We made a choice for me to be home. We lived in Auburn in a trailer while husband went to college. I'm homeschooled. I homeschooled. It's my greatest accomplishment. Now I'm a lovey. I lived in a trailer in Auburn. We might have lived in the same trailer. Maybe. Hola from Fort Pierce, Florida. I've been following this high IQ outfit since October. I hardly miss a show. And if I do, it's not by choice. Christ is king indeed. He gets held up at gunpoint. T in the behind him is red and white and original. What? Huh? What? What? Is that true? Is this true? Oh, wrong. Is this? T is white and red? Let me see here. Where is it? There we go. Real Candace Owens. Let me go back to the video here. Video of him building the wall. T is white in her video. Now let me go back to yesterday's still pic. Nope. White in that as well. Yeah, it's white in there as well. What you may be thinking is red is the, I'm going to call it a panhandle. I don't know if that's what they call it in Nebraska. The little sticky outy part in the western part of Nebraska, you know, that's like the vacuum handle. Nebraska looks like a handheld vacuum. The vacuum handle, not the sucky part, but the handle part. That's red in the video from yesterday. I'm behind. Baron, you need to go real upstate New York, not outside the city. Hills, Lake Country. Also, you're number one real upstate New York fan. I've been to upstate New York. It's a beautiful place. I went to Findlay Lake, Chautauqua County, Mayfield, I think it was. Jamestown. I've been up there. Nurse Casey, wasn't sure if it was a C or K. It's a K. May I request a crop tee for all our CrossFitters? You don't have scissors. No scissors in their house. We'll look into it. If women withdrew from the workplace to early 1960s and prior levels, wouldn't men's salaries double because of the resulting labor shortage, making up for wives not working? So I wasn't going to comment on this. But one of the problems with having a culture of two-income households is everything goes up in price. And one of the consequences of the great divorcing is you have to now have two households. And so that cuts down on the number of available units. And so that pricing goes up. So if you would normally have, let's say, 100 million houses and 100 million people working or whatever, and now you've got 200 million because you've got divorce and then you've got women working and like everything goes up in price. I haven't thought all the way through. I'm sure there's many rebuttals to what I just said. Number one fan merch include thumb wrestling image pick. Thumb wrestling. Off topic, Think Talk Radio. Remember Neil Bortz? I do. I used to love Neil Bortz. Bortz. My dad borrowed my car to drive from Orlando to Jacksonville. Who was that guy? He said. Neil Bortz was great. Not gonna lie, I sent Joe a clip of JOF. The clip of her finding the note and the one you showed early on, it made me remember the note clip. Then it gets covered here. Who's JOF? Jesse on Fire. Jesse on Fire. The clip of the note and the one you showed early on. I haven't talked to Jesse about that. It's my birthday today. EK was so sincere sounding in those videos compared to now. Yeah. My thought was he always referring to EK doing a great job, homeschooling question, or at raising kids in the event he passed. Yeah, we don't have the context because they're liars. They're lying liars who lie, and they'd rather Charlie look like a monster than just be honest. Please watch If a Man Answers, 62 film about treating men like dogs. Someone told me that the other day when I mentioned the dog thing. On a different note, this pod gives new meaning to FanDuel. Number one, Meridian. Idaho here. Christ is your number one. FanDuel. I like that. Check out EK at WFest 313 Mark, where EK gets heckled about. I've seen that. WFest. Women Fest. Number one fan from North Brisbane. Christ is king indeed. Love that color hoodie. Super fan from the low country. We get low. Edge tuned in for Trigger's first live today. He rocked it. Aims for Monday and Friday at 2. Moon Goddess was in tow as well. Moon Goddess was watching live. Wow. Erika's in the pink candy floss outfit. Q&A where she contradicted Charlie and he was frustrated. I will go back and look at the pink floss outfit. Candy floss. I know what you're talking about. She looked like she's wearing a pillow, like a lacy pillow, like a sham throw. In one video, Erika talked about Charlie giving a kiss before he left. He wanted 1 minute and to reset. Why didn't he make it important to do that the morning he left the last day when he got his wallet and ring? The In Cahoots channel showed that the note on the desk seemed to be prepped for his interview with Laura Ingraham. Same wording, maybe not perfect. I showed that video tonight. We talked about that. Listen. TPUSA Expense Day $10,000 donation to Shadow Warriors Fund, Victor Marks, in 2023, shown on their 990. Would like for them to post 2024 and 2025. We'll all be eagerly looking for the 2025 one. Comes out not too terribly long. We'll all be looking. Did you wear long sleeve hoodies in the summer at home? I do to broadcast. Yeah, I keep it cold when I'm broadcasting. I don't want to get hot. Mrs. Coleman seems a little camera shy since we don't see her much, but I bet she was Mama Bear Coleman with the keys ready to head over to that horrible woman's house that spoke on daughter and beautiful grandbaby Coleman. I'll leave her out of that discussion. The look of emotion on CK's face at the start of that Fox News clip is so chilling. It's horrifying and breaks my heart every time. Same. Previous OP about George F., Floyd, or Farmer. Either way, I'm annoyingly interested. I'm assuming they meant Floyd, but I don't know. Number one fan in Yellville. You know how I got that name, right? I'm sure you've heard the joke. A stone's throw from flipping. Well, I won't tell that joke either. Congrats on your precious grandbaby. So happy for you and Mrs. Coleman. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Hi, Baron. God bless you and your family. I'm number one fan of Fake Cheney, Washington. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, Fake Cheney. Or just evil Cheney. Who had Alex Clark sitting in a corner chair watching her fiance and Benny wrestling over the bottle of loot on their 2026 bingo card? What any fudge is happening right now? Don't forget, Dre is planning to go live tomorrow too, 7 p.m. Central. It's ladies' night tomorrow. Thanks for all you do. Yes, I will be tuned in. I promised her I would be tuned in. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Like Dre quite a lot. Joining late, Christ is king indeed. Keep up the good work. Sabby Sabs mentioned you in her show about TPUSA yesterday day. Not yesterday morning or yesterday night. Yesterday day. I like Sabby Sabs. I should go watch that. I haven't had a chance to see it. Thank you, B, for the shout out to my family. My children cheered in glee hearing the shout out. North Miami Beach, Florida. Stay at home mama 3. Christ is king. Indeed, V. Indeed. Ideas on breaking left-right paradigm. Yeah. So what we're going to have to do is stop the purity tests and let people run on us versus them and America first. Because if you have both parties, I don't think third parties are particularly compelling. But if you have people running within the major parties and they're running on we're not going to take it anymore. Like, we're done with these, billionaires ruling over us. And we're going to put America first, and we're just going to that's the only thing we're going to vote on. We're not worried about these smaller issues. We just know that we can deal with those in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. We're going to have to put the smaller issues aside. We don't want the foreign wars. We don't want to be beholden to our greatest ally over and above American interests. We don't want to outsource all our jobs everywhere. Like, we just want to focus on taking care of the folks back home, and we'll let all the other issues work itself out down the road. Like, we're only going to focus on these things. I think you have a shot, and I don't know. I'm not the first one to think about it. You're not the first one to ask the question. 1 to 2 women can't blame all on man. Women stopped taking care of kids, and man, because we thought we deserved more. Men just gave us what we wanted. Stop complaining, recognize, and teach kids we were wrong. I plead the fifth. I'm not going to comment on that. Veteran American leaguer here. From past comment, I need to know about George F. Kerfuffle ASAP. The couscous, the food, so nice, named it twice. Yes. I need to know that too. Like, I'm so confused. Gosh, I simply miss Charlie. Just simply miss Charlie. Love you, Baron. Thank you for all you do. Thank you. Love you more. Radical Raven. Girl that stood up and asked EKCK about balancing family and career has a podcast, Right Side of Nevea Souza. And she did a video that's titled Candace's Cult. Sad they brainwash kids. Yeah. Even if Erika Kirk waited until her children got older, it still wouldn't explain Charlie being okay with EK stepping into the immediate line of fire, unless she absolutely betrayed him. Yeah, let's take it one at a time. Candace says she has real 2-hour video events she's been sitting on for 7 months, watching TPUSA expose themselves. What a woman. Baby, I'm so excited, Edge. So, again, man, I feel like now that she's said this, I should be able to talk about our off-the-record conversations, but I'm not going to. But, man, that's been a tough one to sit on. That's been a tough piece of knowledge to sit on this long. But they finally walked into the trap and released the stupid video that's all cut up, and that's been a tough one. That's been a tough one. God bless you, Baron. The real 67 mama from one of those countries with a flag with a lot of colors. Look up the movie If a Man Answers. My 2 of 2. My career started after my kids grew up. And my marriage wasn't all roses, but a commitment that was continuous work until the day he died 5 years later. I miss him every second of every day. Christ is king indeed. Trisha, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. More Oklahoma. Tornado Alley. Off topic, Charlie Kirk would have spoke about Henry Nowak, R.I.P. Yeah, he might have. All you do. All you do. Probably need to delete some spaces to submit. Oh, I see what you're saying. All you do. Okay. That makes sense because I'm thinking that's not a Spanish word I know. Granted. Candace singing around her house. Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold them. You imagine her like making a lasagna, singing know when to hold them, stirring those big floppy noodles. Know when to fold them. Like pull them out and see if they're done. You know, you shake them. Know when to walk away. You break off a little piece of the corner. Know when to run up till Chewy. You never count your. And then you go over there. She's putting the ricotta in with the egg and she's mixing it up. Salt. Shh. Crushed down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette. Spread it out. Got the mozzarella cheese going. Shaking the parm on at the end. Oh, it's amazing. I can see it. I can vision the whole thing. Staying home for a year when we took my son home, went back to work, got sick, diagnosed with lupus. Had to give up a 27-year career, but never looked back. Got to be home with my son every day. God had a plan. Christ is king indeed. I don't know much about lupus. I'm sorry to hear that. But I'm glad to know you got to stay home with your kid. Number 1 fan in Austin, Texas. Ordered my shirt. Good morning. Gloria Steinem admits in an interview from JFK Archives, student groups told her to go to the CIA for funding. She did and was a CIA operative for 4 years. Did live on it last week. EK same now. Christ is king indeed. I don't know. Gloria Steinem? Turbo cancers from the jab. I've wondered as much. Just starting late, wanted to claim number one national city. I know San Diego's taken, so I'll be more specific. Actually from Puyallup. So it's funny that you can pronounce that, but not Keelan. I guess it's Keelan. So you guys the other night challenged me to ask Coach how to say Puyallup. And let me see if I don't know, I don't know if they all save. Let me see here. I don't know if his voicemail saved. Some of them don't. No, it didn't. It deleted, but he sent me a 45-second voicemail of him saying Puyallup and then trying to say Puyallup and then trying harder to say Puyallup and then telling me what he thought it looked like. It was awesome. He said he finally was like, look, I'm probably not your best friend to know how to pronounce stuff. I love that man. I love that man. He is so funny. He's one of the, doing this more and doing this full time. I've gotten to meet a lot of different podcasters, and he's been one of my favorite to get to meet. He is so funny. Don Henley. That was it. Don Henley. Wasn't Glenn Frey. That was your wedding song. That's pretty it's a pretty steamy wedding song, if I do say so myself. You go, Adrian. That's a great song, though. Man, what a great song. No poke here. Alpha Gal positive. Bit on my deck in Brentwood. Brentwood? They have Alpha Gal in Brentwood? Now, have you tried the ear therapy where they poke the they put a needle in your ear and leave it for 3 weeks, and they're getting 90+% survival? There's a place in Brentwood that does it. I've looked into it to see if it'll cure some of my food allergies. Because, it takes care of beef allergy and dairy allergy. I'm wondering if I got bit by some egg allergy tick or something along the way. Didn't realize it. So Music City Thermy, there's a place in Brentwood. I don't remember the way I looked it up, but it's an MD practice, and they do that. What they call it, acupuncture. Look like food allergy acupuncture, Brentwood, Tennessee. Because I'm planning on going there and getting it done. I don't know if I want a needle in my ear for 3 weeks, but I'd rather be able to eat eggs. Healthy. I used to eat 5 or 6 a day. You kept the baby girl secret, though some of us wondered. You stinker. How did you know, Edge? I'm pretty good at keeping secrets. I keep them for a living. You have to do the carnivore for 2 weeks, and you will notice a huge difference in many things. Meat of all kind, high-fat meat, eggs okay too. Can't eat eggs. Butter and more butter. I struggle with some butter sometimes. Eat until full, always, then start adding back in your veggies and such. I will try it, Annie B. Patriot. I will try it. Using my milestone chat to say, I know you know we know. Alex Clark's fiance is very happy. Very, very happy. Maybe he's in remission. I forgot $650 in ATM while e-baroning 3 weeks ago. Luckily, it got sucked back into the machine. I didn't even know you could pull $650 out of an ATM. I've never pulled more than 40. 650. Luckily, it got pulled back in. So, guys, when you're baroning, be careful. Careful. Use all precautions. Congrats, Granddad Baron. We have 13 honorary grandchildren. They really are the best. Enjoy every moment with her. Christ is king indeed. I will be seeing her tomorrow. There's a slight increase in couples staying together with more than 4 children, born within 2 years of each other, but the jump continued. Marital success between 3 and 4 kids is from 55 to 95%. That's pretty wild. You skipped me. I'm hurt. I didn't mean to. I promise you I didn't mean to. I'm going through, even though I'm late tonight, I'm trying to go through I go through as many as I can every night, but I did not mean to. It's 2:30 a.m. here, claiming number one fan in Liverpool. Love your show. Divorce rate is 90% for couples who don't have at least one kid together by the 4th year of marriage. The 10% who stay together substitute dogs and or cats for kids. Well, that's a terrifying stat if that's true. First time I've made your live, feeling a little starstruck. Katie, I'm a little starstruck. Guys, Katie Jackson is in the chat. I mean, we're all just sitting here and we had no idea. Katie Jackson was in the chat. I'm starstruck. What if EK didn't like the Aspen joke and the rest is history? Christ is king indeed. Was there an Aspen joke? Oh, what if EK didn't like the Aspen joke? Number one fan from Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia. Heard you say Mayfield. It's Mayville. Ah, yes. Your number one Chautauqua County fan. So I spent 3 weeks in Mayville. Actually, we stayed in Finger Lakes at a Holiday Inn or something, some kind of chain hotel there. It's like an exit or two down. Actually, it's not an exit down. We had to like wind through. And we went by, there was a giant statue in one of your little neighboring towns there from Mayville. Between there and Finley Lake is where we stayed. There was like one restaurant in this whole town. And they had chicken wings. And I ate chicken wings like every day because it's all they had that I could eat. And then there was another house. It was someone's like, hey, there's a steakhouse. And I'm like, cool. I didn't know there was a steakhouse here. So we went, and it was at someone's house, literally their house. It was in a barn in the backyard of their house. But it was bumping. Like we rolled in, I was like, we're going to someone's house. And you looked, and there's like a backed-in truck, an old Beetle bug broken down. I'm like, did we follow the directions right? And then you roll around to the back, and there's like this barn, this huge open barn, and there's like jumping back there in Finley Lake. And we had great steaks, great food. It was a wonderful time. We should have found it sooner. But yeah, Mayville. And there's some statue of a president or something on the way. We stopped and took pictures of it. It's so long ago, it's not on my phone. We were there in June. It was beautiful. James Lee, 5149, did a great video on Ivanka Island. I bet he did. He does great work. God bless you. Thank you for speaking truth no matter what. I'm Gen Z, but I use punctuation in this comment just for you, Baron. Well, you did until you didn't, Katie. But I'm still starstruck. The email is restored my faith. Proton email, Saginaw, Michigan. Didn't you forget the W there? Or is it Sagina? Like Bongina. That's where Bongina lives. He lives in Sagina. Starting to think that Candace has proof of Erika's whereabouts, like Aspen video. Candace's day counts. Could be waiting for fake Blake alibi. Candace has a lot. She asks for. Non-stereotypical boomer here. First group of women told en masse to go to college, and along with that we did not need men. This was the worst lie that has affected all of society since. A month ago, I had to miss Mass. I went to Mass an hour and a half early to go to confession. I walked in and literally thought Mass had already started. There were so many people in line for confession. Jesus is in the house. Correct. There's something going on in America with faith. People are going back to churches. Even like denominations that were kind of struggling 4 or 5 years ago are like booming now. So something's going on out there. It's good. My parents separated when I was 5. Dad said I was a far right because I watched Tucker Carlson. Mom said I'm a terror because I voted DJT. Where do we actually belong? Not left, not right. I don't know. Bankruptcy was near. Husband, friend bailed him out to save money from bankrupt fees. I am disabled and part-time work is hard. Says I will miss kids if I work more. Sounds like a tough situation. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you there. How do you reconcile the Catholic Church with the Bible? The Bible we compiled. Church has edited the 10 Commandments. No, it hasn't. It just moved them around a little bit. Thou shalt make no graven images. Those are all graven images. Every one of these. And so is this. This is the ultimate graven image. It's a graven raven. It's a crow, but it's a graven raven. It kind of looks like a raven. It has graven images of anything on earth, under the earth, or above the earth. So, I mean, do you have a picture of your parents at your house? Then you have graven images. I don't like arguing religion, but you're asking me. Please don't start a religious argument. I always try to shy away from these. If you ask me what my opinion is, and she did, how do I reconcile? So the edited 10 Commandments, they're the same 10 Commandments. They're just in a slightly different order. We break one up, and you guys combine one, and then we break another one up. So it's the same 10 Commandments. They're the same. Call no man father except me. You never referred to your father as a father? Did you forget Paul in the very Bible you were just asking about? Said, I have become the father in your father in the faith. That's the Apostle Paul. I have become your father in the faith. That's in the Bible. Just curious to leave the Protestant faith, but have my questions. Yeah, I mean, that's how. I'm not trying to be hostile, but that's just reality. I don't have any qualms whatsoever with it. I feel like I can defend every aspect of my faith when asked, but I don't like to be argumentative about it. And I feel like a lot of people, when they start asking questions, they get really defensive and argumentative. And every time I address it at all on the show, I get a flood of emails from people who try to correct me, and I'm just not into it. I'll just let that one stand on its own. Saginaw, Michigan. Oh, Christ is king indeed. Even in Sagina, Michigan, where Dan Bongina lives. Thank you for all you do. From Ascension Parish, Louisiana. Hard to believe Charlie also wouldn't take into account that he cannot just appoint his wife CEO. He would have been very aware the decision would come from the vote of the board. He even said as much. The board will figure it out. YouTube search Gloria Steinem CIA admits they funded her feminist movement to indoctrinate kids sooner and get more tax money by convincing women we were oppressed. You are amazing. No, MSJ podcast. You are amazing. Bless you and your amazing family, and bless you as well. And bless you as well. Guys, we got to get out of here. We're pushing 9 o'clock God's time, Central Daylight Time. I'll be back Wednesday. I will not be back tomorrow. I will be back Wednesday. If you want to join the members, you can watch the shows from the last couple of weeks. Nissy did a great job last week. I'll have Daily Fredo. Cassia from the Daily Fredo will be here this Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time. 2 o'clock Central Time. She's going to be fantastic. I think it's this Friday. Yeah, I think it's pretty much this Friday. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. If you've liked the program, by all means, would you bless me with a like, please? If I'm asking, I will ask politely. I once had a candidate who always won election. I said, "What's your secret? You're not a very good candidate." He said, "I ask people for their vote." He said, "No one's ever given me anything I didn't ask for." He was not afraid to ask for money. And so I said, "Does that go for the money too?" He said, "No one's ever given me $1 I didn't ask for." So I will ask you for your upvote. If you liked it, just click the like button. Subscribe, please, by all means. Happy to have you as a subscriber. Click notifications, and you too will be notified. Shawnee, you came in so late. Grand Duchess of Hump Tulips, Washington. I had a husband and a dog. I fed, petted, and good dogged my way through both. Worked for me. Good times. Dog and I really miss him. That would be Mark. That would be Mark. You remember when you first started commenting, I would call you Mark and Shawnee, and I would talk about both of you. And then when you pointed out that Mark was no longer with us, I felt really bad about it. But you seem to have such a great attitude that you are now the Grand Duchess of Hump Tulips, Washington. And I'm going to look it up because I don't even know what Hump Tulips is. Hump Tulips, Washington. Humps Tulip, Washington. Census designated place in Grays Harbor County, Washington. Where is that? That's on the coast. That looks like a beautiful area. Wow. Looks a little country, but pretty. Pretty area there. I'm a little jealous. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest, if I'm being honest. But man, I'm looking at some, the East Fork of Hump Tulips, a little area there, entering Hump Tulips. That's beautiful country. Nice hiking out there, some trails. Shawnee, I may come visit. I'll take the show on the road. Broadcasting live from Shawnee's place. Thank you for checking in. You're always so kind and generous. Always so kind and generous. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Westfield Statue of Lincoln. That's what it was. I do have to get out of here. I'll be back Wednesday night. I have no idea what time it'll be. Probably closer to 6, if I had to guess. 6, maybe as late as 7. That's usually on the Wednesdays when we try to go somewhere in there. I know some of you guys do church on Wednesday night. Just watch the replay. Spotify does a great job. You can always check it there. We always put the replay up on YouTube, and we are going to do a better job of putting the replays up on Rumble. I've been very behind, admittedly, but Nurse Casey got them up today, and she'll get those up in due time from now on. So we'll try not to let that slide anymore. In the meantime, I don't think you guys would forget. I know you would never forget, but just in case you ever think about forgetting, Jesus loves you. And I hope you have a wonderful evening here in the States. Overseas, a great morning to you. Top of the morning, top of the middle of the night to you in Europe land. And we'll talk to you soon.